Good morning, world. What is today? Wednesday, December 29th. We got a lot of sports stuff to get to today, man. A lot of stuff to break down, especially with the Bulls, especially talking a little bit of course, of the passing of John Madden. Um, excuse me. And of course, passing here locally of a local Chicago beat reporter. Have some thoughts on that as well. Appreciate you guys for pulling up and tuning in with us for another morning. How you guys feeling this morning? I am your boy Pat the Designer, back at it again. It's gonna be an interesting day. It's gonna be an interesting day, man, because today's one of those days where you look back, on and reflect on what has been a part of your life for so long and possibly taken for granted. What has been a part of your life for for most of us our entire lives? For most of us our entire lives. What has been a part of your life for, I mean, every day, just making and watching and talking football? When you talk about the man, the myth, the legend that is John Madden. When you're talking about playing football, when you're talking about drawing up football, I think back to my childhood, talking about and watching and playing backyard football. And not like live backyard football, but the backyard football that was the video game. Humongous Entertainment. I don't know if y'all know it. There was a saga of video games called Backyard Sports. And it's the first thing I thought of because of how John Madden even affected things that he wasn't a part of. There was a character in that game who was absolutely based on John Madden. His name was Chuck Downfield. He actually follows me on Twitter. It's pretty hilarious. But yeah, he got up and he would do similar things to John Madden. He would make similar statements like Madden, but like a kid version. You know, I could have gone on to be a professional 8th grade player, but I blew my knee out in the 3rd grade. Just that thought of like that analyst, how John Madden changed the game with how you're able to analyze the game, how John Madden changed the game with how the game is looked at, how it's talked about, how it was done in the booth, how plays were broken down. If you really think about it, John Madden was the first version for many of us of that insight into the mind of the football player, the football coach. And so when you talk about the winningest football coach in history, percentage-wise, 103 and 32 and 7. All 103 wins came with the Raiders. Team had a winning record all 10 seasons, won a Super Bowl, and of course a Hall of Famer. John Madden, we pay tribute to you today for everything you've given to the game of football, for everything you've given to the sport of football. And we appreciate you for all the time that you spent here. And of course, you know, you gotta love Madden. Any Madden players in here this morning? You gotta love Madden. I'm in a Madden league right now. It's pretty serious. We're starting season 3 of this year, and it's one of those where you're looking at it like I was on the game yesterday when the news broke. I was on the game because I'm co-commissioner with another one of my buddies in it, and when the news broke, when you saw that John Madden passed away, it was just one of those things where you had to look at it and say, yo, like for real? Like, and the documentary's dropping, and you know what I'm saying? Like, it was literally one of those where you just sat there and you were just like, wow. You know, it wasn't it, and the hard part is like you're almost trying to justify with yourself, why is this hurting you personally? I don't know John Madden. All I know about John Madden is the football. All I know about John Madden is the video games. Personally, you know what I'm saying? But it's one of those when somebody's stuck with you for so long. When as a kid, by the time I got around, I think Madden had pretty much lost most of his mind. You know what I'm saying? It was one of those. It was one of those. What's a good way to describe it? Like he would say something, and poor Pat Summerall would just be sitting there and have to like try to agree with him because he was John Madden, and you couldn't disagree with a football god. And that's what he was. He was a football god. You couldn't disagree with a football guy. And so you'd be sitting there and it'd be like, if he'd caught that ball in the end zone, Pat, that would have been a touchdown. Pat's like, appreciate that, John. Thank you for that. Great insight analysis, man. We appreciate all of that. It was one of those things like I said, man, just watching it. I remember when his voice was in the games. I remember when we were breaking down when he was breaking down plays on the screen, and all of a sudden all of the lines start crossing, and at a certain point it literally was like the jokes you hear. The lines would be going all the way across everything. It was interesting, man. So have to pay tribute to John Madden. Also have to pay tribute as shout out to Baki for bringing up the point in the comments as well, man. Also have to pay tribute to a local Bears reporter who passed away yesterday to cancer. Jeff Dickerson, who was another person who I met him one time at a Bears training camp. Nice dude, just wanted to go up and essentially say hi to somebody who was from ESPN. It was tough to hear yesterday, especially if you're an avid ESPN 1000 listener. They do a great job of letting you in on the personal side, letting you know who the person is, letting you know what the family is. We all know his son's name is Parker. We all know that he went through a battle last year where his wife actually passed away of cancer, and now to hear him pass away of cancer as well, and to think of what his son's going to have to go through, losing both parents within 2 years, was heartbreaking yesterday. It was devastating. And so there is a GoFundMe set up for Parker. Go to ESPN 1000's Twitter. They'll have that on there. If you want to help, if you want to contribute, if you want to show support to the family, please show support. It's literally like the Chicago people don't understand what it is when you watch something every day, when you listen to something every day, when you talk about something every day, when you let people into your lives every day. That's what JD was for us during Bears season. That's what JD was for us during Bears season. And unfortunately, there wasn't a lot of good for him to cover. But it was an amazing. It was almost like I trusted his insight over the insight of the people who weren't here, over the Schefters, over the Mel Kiper Jr. If JD said it, that was the story. Because he's there, because he's watching, because he knows these guys personally. And so to hear him passing away yesterday, that was a tough moment. And of course, we want to give a moment of silence on the show real quick, just to show honor. Thank you very much. But to hear that he had passed away, it was tough. It was somebody who I would have loved to get to know better. Being in the sports circles, just didn't get that opportunity. But like I said, when you let people into your life, like legitimately knowing Carmen and Yurko is so awesome for me. Meeting Waddle and Sylvie, meeting Jay Hood, talking with Jay Hood all the time, man. He's like an OG in the game, and having him. Somebody that I can rely on, that I can ask questions to, that I can kind of try and get a feel for what the game is. That to me is something that it doesn't make sense in your mind, but you can't replace it. And so to lose Jeff Dickerson yesterday was very tough. If you guys could, man, if you have the means to, I'm going to as well. Go on over to ESPN 1000 and anything that you can give their Twitter page. They got a GoFundMe set up for his young son, who's now lost both his parents in the matter of 2 years. So show some love over there, man. I know the Breeze family will. All right, let's get to some sports. That's a tough transition, ain't it? But I wanted to do that. I wanted to have that moment where where we're real about this. But it's a tough transition to go from losing somebody who you let in to sports. But let's do it. That's why we're here. That's why we're here in the morning. It's 6:10 a.m. and I'm here to talk with you. Let's break it down. And by the way, we will have the phone lines open today as well. So they're not open yet. I'll let you know when they're open, but we will have the phone lines open as well to take some calls because I want to hear from you, the people, as well. It's your boy Pat, the designer. As always, man, let's talk. Let's break down what's on the docket today, especially Bulls-wise, man, because to me, there's a concerning topic, and I don't know how concerned I should be with it, right? Because we were all kind of asleep when this news broke. We were all kind of asleep when this news broke, but the NBA has denied the Chicago Bulls' request for a disabled player exception for injured power forward Patrick Williams. Interesting. Because to me, I take this one of two ways. For those of you who don't know, a disabled player exception can be granted to an NBA team when a player goes down with a season-ending injury deemed to be, or an injury that's deemed to be season-ending. The exception gives the club some additional spending flexibility, functioning almost as a cross between a traded player exception and a mid-level player exception. Not that I knew that before I Googled it. I had never even heard of this exception. I'm not going to lie. The NBA ever do that to y'all? Like they just drop a new rule that has been here for like 100 years and you just never knew about it? I didn't even know this was a thing. I don't remember the Bulls doing this with Derrick Rose. You know what I'm saying? Like I had no idea that this was a thing. So the NBA denied the Bulls' request for a disabled player exception for the injured forward Patrick Williams. And so I'm looking at this one of two ways, right? And the one way kind of gets me excited. And good morning, everybody that's just joining. We got Calvin in here. Javo, what's good? He says, Madden's been a staple of my life since I was a young, and RIP to an absolute icon. We got Strasburg Steve in here. He says, rest in peace, JD. Baki's in the chat, says, RIP, two legends, John Madden, our Chicago Bears beat reporter, one of the voices of the Bears, Jeff Dickerson. Rose Rising says, good morning, famo. Shout out to y'all, man. Shout out to Chris Newman for pulling up with a bear down in a Bulls Nation. Shout out to Primetime Podcast, man. We appreciate y'all for pulling up. Reggie Blash, I like that name. That's funny. And Robert Schwartz, as always, man. Here's the way I'm looking at this. There's two ways to look at this to me. One way is that AK is trying to finesse the system. And if that's what's happening, good job on him. Good morning, Mike. Good job on him. You know what I'm saying? Because to me, all we were hearing up to this was that Patrick Williams was progressing well. Patrick Williams was moving in the right direction. Patrick Williams was on the fast track to coming back. And then you hear that AK is trying to put in for the disabled player exception. Is now it's almost like it's raising some flags. You know what I'm saying? Like, not to say that I'm worried about it, not to say that I don't think that the Bulls are lying to us, I should say, that Patrick Williams not on the fast track to come back, but it does raise some flags. But to me, it's like, okay, is AK trying to finesse the system here, or is there more serious wrong with Patrick Williams than we thought? Is there more wrong with Patrick Williams than we thought? Is he not on that fast track to recovery? Is he not on that path that's going to lead him back? You know what I'm saying? Like what's the word? What is the outcome of this? Should we feel good that the NBA is denying it? Because maybe that's the NBA saying, listen, we know he's going to be back. You can't fool us, Mr. AK. We know he's going to be back. And the you know what the part that I'm trying to balance out here is how much do I want my GM trying to finesse the NBA? You know what I'm saying? Like, how much do I want my GM to try and finesse the NBA? Because to me, trying to finesse the NBA can backfire on you very well when you need the NBA in moments like these. Is it worth it to try and finesse the NBA? I'm thinking, like I see in the comments here, Chris Newman says if it was the Lakers, they would let them do it. But remember when when the Lakers were trying to kind of do a little deal to get Chris Paul in the building and do a little finesse stuff to finesse the NBA said nay, nay. And that's what I think about. It's the moments like that I think about. It's the moments like that I'm looking at and I'm saying, all right, how do you get how, are we in a position where we should be worried that players are or that your GM's trying to finesse the NBA when we might actually need Big Brother to come help us out in a situation where maybe we get in another COVID situation outbreak? Hopefully not. Maybe we get in another situation where we need the NBA to step in. Maybe, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you want to go pushing their buttons? Do you want to go messing with them and poking at them and being like, hey, let me get that off of you. Hey, let me. To me, it's like you know that dude that like comes up to you on the street and he's got that look where it seems like there's nothing wrong with him, but he's still giving you the like, hey, let me get $5 off of you, dog. Let me get that 5 off of you. And maybe if he asks one time, he gives you a good story, you might hand him a little cash. Hey man, listen. Hey, you down on your luck, brother? Here you go. Go get you some food. Shout out to you, man. But if he's back the next day, he's not getting 5 out of me again. Because that means now 2 days in a row, dog. Listen, and if you really, you know what I'm saying, though? Y'all know what I'm saying? You're not getting the double 5 out of me. Prime Time says, why not? I love it. Shows that Acme is trying to win. I love the aggressiveness. I like it too. I do like the aggressiveness. But what I don't like is that us being excited about our GM and putting that stigma on him and saying that yeah, he's trying to finesse the league. He's trying to get, or is there actually something that might be season ending with Patrick Williams? That's the part that scares me. Is there something that might actually be wrong with P. Will? Is there something where P. Will might not be able to come back to the NBA? Is there something where P. Will might not be able to be back in the league this year? Because if we're being honest, a lot of the stuff that I'm basing what you should do at the trade deadline on, and AK as well, is all based on when does P. Will come back. I'm not saying that P. Will instantly gets his starting job back when he comes back in. I'm not saying that he's just going to fall into the rotation and fit into place and everything is moving in the right direction and all of a sudden now he's this breakout player. But how do you get him minutes going into the playoffs? How do you get him minutes coming in? How does he get to that next level? How do you know what I'm saying? Like you have to take those things into account. And so to me, I'm more concerned about, is P. Will healthy? He's putting up shots. From what I've heard, he's putting up shots, which probably was the worst story that could have leaked if you're trying to get this exception. Robert Schwartz, we appreciate you for becoming a Bears Superfan member, my guy. Shout out to you. Shout out to you, man. If you guys don't know, man, we do have the Breeze. I said Bears, the Breeze Superfans. The Breeze Superfans is where you can become a Breeze Superfan. Drop some dope stuff. We've got dope merch that exclusively dropped over on the Discord. It'll be out for the rest of y'all on the 1st of January. Keep a lookout for that. But for those super members, those super fans, those people that have shown that extra mile of support, man, come on through. Check that out over on the Discord. Hop up in the Discord as well. All that stuff's in the community tab. Shout out to you guys. And I believe that's in the comments below to join. It should be. Yep, you can become a Breeze Superfan by checking the comments below. Primetime says, sound like a personal story, Pat. Nah, man, like I'm just saying, dog. Like you know what I'm talking about. See, if y'all through the city, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like you've got your guys. Like for me, there was always one guy when I was working. When I first started working electrical, there was always one guy. His name was Sammy, and he was an older homeless guy. Talked to himself. He fit a profile. You know what I'm saying? And he used to come up to me all the time, knowing he'd be like, I was the gopher at work. I was the gopher because I was new. Pat, go get coffee. Go get McDonald's. Go get whatever. And so I would come down. Sammy would be down there. He'd be standing in front of the McDonald's at the corner in Old Town. And I would come through and I'd be like, Sammy, what's good? Never shook his hand. I'd give him the dap. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're doing. I'm not coming in full handshake on it. I don't know. I don't know. I give you the dap. I give you elbow. You know what I'm saying? Pre-COVID, but I'm still dapping. No, come on now. We can't be doing that. Byron Williams was good, man. Good morning. But I would always give him, I'd always hook him up. I'd give him, hey, listen, let me get an extra egg McMuffin with sausage for my guy. Hit him with it, grape jelly bow. If I had some extra cash, yo, Sammy, here you go, man. But it was another dude that was down there as well. He was from another spot. He was trying to move in on Sammy's territory. He wasn't my guy. He comes up. He looked normal. Sammy fits a profile. Sammy's walking around. You see Sammy just in the middle of the street. Just, Sammy, you good? Hey, what's going on? Sammy fits a profile. This dude comes up, looks like a fairly fine young man who's very capable to work. Looks like he's doing all right in life. He had some Jordan shoes on his feet, so I'm assuming he's got at least $200 on him. They looked in pretty good condition. He was still doing that weird walk that Jordan shoe wearers do where they don't want to crease their shoes. You know what I'm saying? When they crisp, he was doing that. So I'm assuming somebody just gave you, you're doing all right. Probably poor on me to assume that, but hey. But he wasn't my guy. I gave him the 5 one day. Came back the next day, still looking for the 5. In my mind, I'm like, Sammy, this man's moving in on your territory. You need to handle that. But it's not my place. I'm not going to start no beef. I'm not going to do. Say, no, you're not getting a double 5, man. You look like you're all right. Hands working. Here's a job application. Follow me down the block. You know what I'm saying? You got to fit that profile. But how are we looking at what Patrick Williams was? How are we looking at what the disabled player exemption means? How are we looking at what the disabled player exemption means? If you're just getting in here, the Bulls were denied a disabled player exemption, which in my mind is AK trying to clear up space to get another big name player in there, to get another name in there, to get another guy that you can go in and add to this team and put this team in a new light and put this team in a new situation. You know what I'm saying? That's how I'm looking at it. That's what I'm thinking is going on. But is it? That's the part you got to ask yourself. Is it really, or is that us hyping ourselves up? Is that us giving AK all the credit in the world? That's the part that becomes scary. Is Patrick Williams moving in the right direction? Is Patrick Williams really getting ready to start ramping up practices and stuff like that, or is he still in a spot where, hey, listen, it sounds good? That's the question that I have. That's why I'm concerned about this this a little bit. Not crazy, not a crazy amount, not like to the point where I'm sitting here panicking. And you know why? Because the Bulls are winning. If you're winning, I'm okay. I can live with it. We're gonna be all right. Primetime Podcast says Pat instigated a homeless turf war. I didn't, dog. I didn't do nothing. I'm just saying. You got to get in there. Can't be letting somebody just walk in on your territory, Sammy. You gotta buck up a little bit on that one, man. What do you guys think it is? Do you guys think that it is the AK trying to finesse the system? Do you think that it's P. Will actually going through a little more serious injury than what was originally thought? What are your thoughts on it? Because to me, I want to say yes to the first. I want to be like, yeah, AK, give it to him. But use every exception in the world. And I think it was Baki that said it earlier, man. He was just like, listen, here, this is the comment, but shout out to Baki, man. You know why we never heard about this, Pat, is because Garpax was never creative enough to use these things. Absolutely. And that could be it too. But that was, dog, what was the rule that threw y'all off? Like, real talk, I'm not gonna lie. I found out this season. I've been playing basketball forever. Been playing basketball. Well, I can't say forever, but I've been playing basketball probably since freshman year of high school. I've gotten much better since then. I didn't know a tip didn't count as a rebound. And that's just me. You know what I'm saying? That's just the rule. But I'm sitting here, I'm like, Nicola's got at least 22 rebounds, and then you look and he's got 7. Like, wait a minute, what? The tips not count as rebounds? We were on a live call for that. I've been counting my rebounds wrong this whole time. I'm sitting here talking to Muzz. I'm like, oh man, I had like 30 rebounds that day. I had like probably 15 tip outs. You know what I'm saying? What was that rule that y'all had that y'all saw that you were like, man, what the? That's a thing? This one snuck up on me last night. I'd never heard of it. I'd never heard of a disabled player exception. As many players as we've had Luol Deng, we've had Derrick Rose. You know what I'm saying? As many players as we've had that have gone through disabilities at this point, you would think we would have invoked it a couple of times. So to me, I'm looking at it. I want to be optimistic about this. Whoa. Shout out to Strasburg Steve with the super chat. Loving the new show, Pat. You seem to have a real talent for being a sports talk radio host. Seems very natural for you in terms of AK. I like the aggressiveness and he wants to do what's best for the team. In AK, we trust. First off, shout out to you, Strasburg Steve. You're the man. You are the man. Helping me feed my family. That is amazing. And I appreciate y'all for rocking with the new show, man. Everybody that's in here, we got 35 people in here. We're getting ready to have it to where, I know a lot of people get up and go to work and you don't have the YouTube Red or whatever. So we're getting ready to have it on the Contender as well. So you can hear us over there as well. But yeah, no, that I like, you know what though? I like how he said that though. 8K's doing things in the best interest of the team. It seemed like for so long, especially with Jerry kind of running more of the show. Now it's more Michael, but especially with Jerry kind of running the show. You saw more, I'm going to make moves to make my owner happy. I'm going to make moves to put money in my owner's pocket. These moves aren't best for the team. I'm going to sell a second-round draft pick. I'm going to trade away these young draft picks or young players so that I can get this guy in here because this guy makes less money. So that means more money in the owner's pocket, and it keeps you with a job longer. And so I looked at that as it's a good way to look at the move. He's doing what's best for the team. He's doing what's best for the team and not what's best for the owner's pockets. He's not worried about, and you know what that is to me? I'll tell you what that is. That's ultimate confidence. That's ultimate confidence. Him and Mark Eversley have the ultimate confidence. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. And Bulls fans be excited about what we have now. I don't think we're going to have Mark Eversley very long. I don't think we're going to have Mark Eversley very long. I think Mark Eversley is going to be president of basketball operations for another team very, very soon. You got to think about what he's done here in Chicago, and he's the reason that we got DeMar in the building. He's the reason that we got a lot of these moves that have been a lot of these lower tier moves. I mean, we're giving AK a lot of this credit here, but let's be honest, AK signing off on a lot of moves that his GM is making. AK signing off on. I mean, when we're talking about now Alfonso McKinney, when we're talking about, you know what I'm saying, we're seeing dudes from the town play for the Bulls now, and I think that's a big part of Mark Eversley. And so I be excited by what we have now. I think we're going to lose Mark Eversley at some point, and he's going to become a president of basketball operations. But these guys are doing what's best for the Chicago Bulls. That is a great way to put that, Strasburg Steve. They're doing what's best for the Chicago Bulls. They're doing what's going to put the Bulls in the best position to be successful consistently. Now, will it work out? That's yet to be seen. We got us a winning team off of one season where we didn't have a winning team. Baki says, like I've always said, Jerry Reinsdorf, loyalty is his biggest flaw. He stayed loyal to Garpax and Kenny Williams, even after it was time for them to go, and cares more about them than his teams. You know what, though? See, this is a tough one for me, right? Because let's be real. Let's be real here. Let's talk about this. We all value loyalty. We all value loyalty. We all value the loyalty that the people around us give us. We would value the loyalty that our jobs give us. We value the loyalty. Listen, a big reason why you're not seeing a lot of people working now, here's my big business soapbox. A big reason you're not seeing a lot of people working now is because you don't have that loyalty. I told, I was telling my wife's uncle that when The people that raised us to work taught us to be loyal to your job. You go in, you work hard for your boss, you do everything you can, you get out. If you do that, your job will support you. The problem is the loyalty from their end is gone now. The loyalty on their end is gone now. Now the loyalty on our end is still there, but their loyalty is gone. So why should we be loyal to them? But when the people before us, when the generation before us was working, that's exactly how it was. If I work hard for you, I'll be here 50 years, 60 years. Now we realize they're not loyal to us. Now I'm loyal to this green. How do I get the bag? How do I get the money? Strasburg Steve showing big love today with another super chat. Shout out to you, man. Why do you think Mark Eversley will leave? Are the Bulls think of letting him go, or does he want to leave? Well, I say that because everybody wants to move up and be in the highest role, right? There's not a lot of people that want to just be GM for the rest of their life. Now, possibly he does. Possibly he wants to be a part of this team when it wins. Possibly, I'm not guaranteeing it, but I would say prepare yourselves for it, because to me, and again, thank you for the super chat, Strasburg Steve. To me, Mark Eversley probably wants to be president of basketball operations. Mark Eversley probably wants to be in a position where he's that next level guy, where he's got that next step, where you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm assuming he wants to do, where he's running the show, where he's making the major decisions for the team. That's the biggest thing. That's how you get to where you want to be. And so I'm assuming if I see him doing a great job with the Bulls, and I'm say, like Ricky said, the Portland Trailblazers, who haven't been able to figure it out. McCaskey's got a real bad loyalty problem. Yeah, we won't speak on that, man. We won't speak on that. We won't speak on that, man. Shout out to you for the other super chat, man. Showing big love today. Strasburg Steve is in the building, man. But if I want to move up, you know, if I want to get to that next level, hey, listen. If somebody offers me that job, I'm going to take it. And I think that Mark Eversley is going to be that kind of good. Baki says, we all value loyalty, but when you're not getting it done at your job, even the most loyal boss is going to have to replace you. Reinsdorf is the only owner I've seen that stays loyal to guys who are failing. I'll give you that, but it's I understand that. I understand that, where I say, if you're failing at your job, if you're struggling, but let's be real, as much as we dislike Garpax put together two really good teams. More packs than Gar probably, but he put together two really good teams. Maybe three. Nah, I'll say he put together two really good teams, where you had Jimmy Butler, Derrick Rose years, and then you had the Derrick Rose on his own years, where it was Derrick and Lou all in them. And I think he put together one team that was good in the Kirk Heinrich Baby Bulls years. That's not, over how long were they here? They were here way too long. Over a 20-year span, though, I could understand it more with them. Kenny Williams won a championship, so I get it with Kenny as well. I don't like it. Don't get me wrong. There's two different things. I understand it. I don't like it. But it's like Amon Shumpert said the other day. He was talking about loyalties with your teams. He said, when I was a kid, when I was a Bulls fan, you didn't talk about my Bulls. You didn't talk about my team. You didn't talk about Judd Bushler. That's off limits. Don't clown my team. We got a problem there. And he was talking about how the loyalties in the league have gone away. And I agree with that. I agree with that. That's kind of where we're at with sports today. The loyalties aren't there anymore. Think about it. In all honesty, if we were in the early 2000s and you're talking about what we're talking about with Kobe White, he's playing better, maybe now's the time to move him because you now have IO. You wouldn't be having that conversation. You'd be having a conversation of, nice, we got IO over here. Hey, guess what? We've also got Kobe, who's seeming like he's playing a little bit better. Now that bench unit is coming together. Now we're moving in the right direction on that. But now it's, hey, get rid of this kid. In all honesty, 100% transparency. If it was the early 2000s, we'd still have Lowry. We'd still have Wendell. We'd still have we wouldn't be talking about trading Kobe. They would let a young team grow, possibly to a fault. Absolutely, possibly to a fault. You know what I'm saying? You would absolutely hold on to somebody way too long. To the point where you're like, man, we had this dude 7 years and he couldn't play none of them. So is it, that's a question for y'all. Do y'all like it better like this? Man, Strasburg Steve, you must have really hit on them bets, man. Shout out to you, dog. Showing big love today. Says loyalty is more important in terms of family and friendship than in the business sports betting world because players' careers don't last forever. Family and friends can still be by your side till the day you die. That's facts. That's facts. But you know what though? In terms of finding, now here's the thing, right? Be loyal to the right guys. In terms of finding the right guys, it makes it easier. I think AK is the right guy. I think Mark Eversley's the right guy. I would love to see, if Jerry really wants to show loyalty, and Michael, I think Michael will be similar in that way. If you really want to see that loyalty and stuff like that, to me, I would say, if they do offer Mark Eversley the bag to go be a GM, up his money. Up his money. There's no way Baki says there's no way we watched Garpax from 1999 to 2019 and made one conference. Well, first off, it wasn't 1999 because Jerry Krause built that second team. That Ron Artest, who was all on that? Not Lou Will. Jay Crossover, Brad Miller, Elton Brand team. That was Jerry Krause. So we talking what? We probably talking 06, 05, 06? Maybe 04. When did we draft Kirk and them? 04, something in there. It was a long time, though. I give you that, Baki. I give you credit. I give you that. It was a long time. Do you like the league now the way it is? Where you get a draft pick. In all honesty, if he doesn't hit in the first year, you're moving on from him. Where you get players in the building where, yes, I like what this player does, but I would rather have that player there. So do you like, essentially, do you like how it was before? Or do you like what the Lakers have done? I always bring the Lakers up because the Lakers are the perfect example of the what if. They let go of a young team to win a ring right now. And they won it. But are the Lakers a better team? Because they had LeBron. Remember this. They had LeBron. Are the Lakers a better team with LeBron James, Lonzo Ball, Kyle Kuzma, Josh Hart, Jordan Clarkson? Clarkson actually might have been a part of the trade. Or no, because LeBron signed there. I feel like Clarkson might have been gone already. But do you like the NBA the way it is now with how we saw the Lakers do it, where you had a ton of young talent, Julius Randle, the stars of the league right now. But they moved on to get a ring right now. And the way it's looking, they're not going to get another one. Or do you like how it was, where there was those loyalties, where there was those players that lie and sue? And that's a good point there by Byron Williams. He says, I think the Lakers really started this before LeBron with Malone and Peyton went to LA. But here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. You're talking about at that point role players. Old guys, yes, they're still able to contribute, but older dudes, role players. The Lakers' loyalty was to Kobe, was to Shaq. The Lakers' loyalty was to Kobe, it was to Shaq. And they kept those players. They let Shaq was already an established star. They let Kobe develop into what he was going to become. He was playing well. They got Derrick Fisher in there. They got those guys in there. The older dudes coming through to say, "Oh, that's a super team." It's like, that's some dudes that like running around. Those are that's Uncle Gary at that point. That's Uncle Gary at that point. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Like to me, I'm not tripping on Gary Payton and them going. And everybody always brings up the Boston Celtics when you talk about looking at the what am I trying? Where super teams started. The organization put that team together. Those are two trades. You still got to make them work. Traded for Kevin Garnett, traded for Ray Allen, and you have to make that work. Strasburg Steve with another super chat. In your opinion, is it harder to sell the trust the process model or the win now model to a fan base regardless of the sport? Now the trust the process model. Now it's the trust the process. Because think about Philly. Philly's still in the process. As great as Joel Embiid is, Philly still hasn't won a NBA title. They still haven't been to an Eastern Conference Finals. I trust that Joel Embiid's really good. I think we all do. I trust that Joel Embiid's a heck of a player. But that trust the process model is tough to put in a lot of people's minds. You know what I'm saying? Because I want you to trust that if you give me 10 years, I will make this team good. And it's almost like who was saying the Carolina Panthers, right? Their head coach, Matt Rule, his logic on what he was breaking down was, yes, we're playing bad right now, but it took Jay-Z 7 years to build what he's built. 7 years. And the NFL was good for giving you time. But if I let you implement your whole system, 7 years, think about that. Even Matt Nagy, it tell you, when you talk about Andy Reid's system, well, I don't know about Matt Nagy, but even when you talk about like Andy Reid's system, Pat Mahomes said it. He said, I just figured out defensive schemes and stuff like that last year. It just clicked last year. It takes time a lot of times, but we don't give players that time. Many Bears fans had written Mitch off in year 2. For me, if I give you 3 years and you've shown no improvement, now I'm questioning whether you take your job seriously. I'm not saying you can't show you can show zero improvement. Because to me, that's you not taking your job seriously. You're not like when we saw Larry Markkinen in his last year here in Chicago, and really the year before that for me. Really more so the year before that when Jim Boylan was still here. Everybody was talking about Jim Boylan's putting him in a bad position. He's not letting him play in the post. He's not letting him do what he does best. He's not letting him. Okay, that's cool. Why can't he knock down wide open shots? Why is he struggling to knock down wide open floaters? Why is he struggling to not that's where you start to look at it to me, where you have to kind of blur the lines between, yes, there's this undying loyalty to the player, to the team, to the teammates, to everything that's a Chicago Bull. Anybody that's in a Bulls jersey, there's that loyalty there. Anybody that's in the Bulls facility, there's that loyalty there. But to me, you have to differentiate that between, is the player doing everything he can to improve his game? Because I can tell you looking at Larry, listen, yes, they put Larry in some bad positions, but he still missed a lot of wide open shots. Yeah, he has a day where he absolutely goes off for 30 and catches a heater and he's dominant and he's aggressive but he's still missing wide open shots. See, as fans, we love to blame the coach, we love to blame the GM, we love to blame ownership. We rarely like blaming the player. You've got to be a pretty bad player for us to blame the player. You've got to look fairly incompetent for us to blame the player. Even the narrative now is that Mitch wasn't really that bad. Matt Nagy was that bad. It wasn't Mitch. It was never Mitch. Matt Nagy was that bad. No, there's some of that goes on the player as well. But we also solo stuff out. You know what I'm saying? We do the what's the move where you I can't think of the word for it, but basically where you can only blame one person. When, let's be real, on a football team, on a basketball team, there are multiple reasons why stuff is messed up. There are multiple reasons why stuff is messed up. There's not one reason on any sports team, one go-to reason on any sports team. Like, you're the reason. This right here is the reason the Bulls suck. Because guess what? Even when Jim Boylan left last year, we still sucked. We didn't have the talent. Was Jim Boylan a major reason why we sucked? Yes. He was bad. He was god awful. But the talent wasn't there. We're playing pick and roll with Cristiano Felicio on the floor. And so the question comes in to me where you have to ask yourself, okay, how do I get how do I figure out what the issue is? How do I figure out where the issue is coming from? And yes, removing the biggest issue can help. But now the thing that AK has done is, how do I add to this? How do I make what I have work? How do I make the players that I already have in the building better? Guess what? I'm going to go get better players to put around them. I'm going to go make Zach's life easier and give him a point guard. I'm going to make Zach's life easier on the scoring tip and give him another scorer. By the way, I'm bringing in Vooch so that he can catch rebounds because Zach wants to shoot threes, and he's really good at it, but sometimes he misses, so we need a tip out. We love to blame everybody, and we normally blame, to me, the player last. Here in Chicago, anyway. We'll blame the player for something on the field, for play on the field. We'll blame the player on, but when the team fails, it's not because the player wasn't doing his job. And that's because in our minds, if we were on that field making the money that the players are making, I'd be doing everything I can to keep that money. Here in Chicago, we absolutely look at the players and we say, listen, great stuff by the players. Great moves, great, he shouldn't have been there. Why is he in pick and roll right there? Mitch isn't protected enough. That's on Ryan Pace. It's not on the guys protecting Mitch. That's on Ryan Pace that Mitch isn't protected. And that's true. There's a caveat there. That's a fact. But you also have to look at the fact that those five guys that are standing in front of Mitch have to do their job. They didn't do their job very well. We look at football in terms of stars, quarterback, and that's pretty much it. And wide receiver, maybe. We don't really think about the guys that are in front of the quarterback that are the most important on the field. It's like Olin Kreutz said. He said that most of Chicago, most of the people that have come into Chicago thought quarterback was the problem, and it never was. Quarterback is a symptom of the problem. Bad quarterbacks are a symptom of what the real problem has always been in Chicago, and that's that you can't put somebody in front that's going to keep the quarterback alive long enough. Everybody wants Justin Fields to be Deshaun Watson and have this crazy success and dominate. That's hard to do when you're getting hit 31 times. And I'm not saying that it's not the GM. I'm not saying it's not Matt Nagy. I'm not saying it wasn't Jim Boylan. I'm not saying none of that. Having a competent head coach matters, especially in football. But what I am saying is this. Sometimes you got to look at the guys that you want to wear the jersey of, the faces of the team, the icons of the team, the names of the team. And you have to say, hey, listen, not for nothing, champ, but you might want to stand in front of that guy and keep him alive. Hey, you're in the corner, you got a wide open three. I never played the game. I never played the sport at a professional level like you have. But I know you're supposed to knock down a wide open three-pointer in the corner. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. Stuff like that. I love that we're at a point where we can look back and laugh at the struggles we had with the Bulls. And not only that, I saw something on Twitter yesterday. As we get into a little bit more NBA, we're going to get into a little bit more just kind of the year in review, stuff like that. I saw something on Twitter yesterday that was interesting, funny, made me laugh, but also made me excited about where my team is. I'll break that down and have the phone lines coming up next on the Morning Breeze. The Bulls, to me, and maybe this is the first time I'm saying it on here, and this is why you have to make a move before the break and go for it. The Bulls, to me, absolutely have the makings of a championship roster. 100%. They have a championship roster right now. But you have to add to it because these other teams also have that championship level roster. So it's not just about having a championship roster. It's also about, do you have enough to beat the other teams with a championship roster? And right now, I don't know if the Bulls have that. Right now, I don't know if the Bulls have that. Because I'll tell you this right now, and we're going to talk about this on the live show. By the way, we will be live tomorrow from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. For all of you people that are up early going into work, tune into the show, man. The Morning Breeze starts tomorrow. We're going to be live every week, Monday through Friday. And we're going to be breaking this down. But when Kyrie Irving comes back to the NBA, I've said this all year. It's Brooklyn's league, and the rest of us are in it. Now, there's going to take some time for him to get acclimated. Of course, now he's dealing with the health and safety protocols. There's going to be some time with that. But if we continue to do that, if we continue down that path where one day he comes back, then we're in a position where Kyrie Irving is the key to unlocking Brooklyn. And if they're fully healthy, and at this point, it doesn't even matter. We've sat here all season and talked about the struggle that James Harden is going to have. We've talked about all season, like, he can't do it. They're not going to win a championship. James Harden is not a factor anymore if Kyrie Irving is 100% healthy. Now, of course, there's still the fact that I say that we've never seen Kyrie 100% healthy. The one time we saw him healthy, he helped win a championship. Yeah, I'm saying. But to me, that's the biggest thing that the Bulls have going for them. The unknown of Kyrie. But now you have to add to your roster because he's back. So if he's healthy, if he's playing along with Kevin Durant, who's been dominating the NBA, the league is theirs. Let's not get it twisted. Golden State, okay. I love it. I love what Steph is doing. I love how they're playing defense. But the league is theirs. And I hate to say it like that. So now you have to figure out, how do you improve your roster to get to the point where the league isn't theirs? How do you get to the point where like I said, championship roster is already here, adding to a championship roster to make it more of a championship roster when it's 100% healthy? We've seen a lot of championship rosters get beat. A lot of them. Shaq and Penny had a championship roster, got beat. Scottie Pippen and them boys, when he was in Portland, had a championship roster, got beat. You know what I'm saying? We've seen a lot of consistent championship rosters get beat. Championship level rosters get beat by better championship. How do we get to that point? And so now you're looking at who can you add to this team. And AK told you he's still going to add. Welcome back into the Morning Breeze. What's going on, y'all? It's your boy, Pat the Designer, back at it again. We appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with us as always. We're live Monday through Friday from 6 to 9 a.m. I appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. You're tuning in. It's early morning, man. It is early in the morning. Y'all are rocking with me, man. I hope y'all are having a beautiful day out there at work. I hope y'all having a beautiful day out there on the roads, man. We talked about a lot of stuff in the first hour. We talked about the passing of John Madden, talked about the passing of Jeff Dickerson. Prayers up to both families. We talked about the Bulls. Are the Bulls really in a better position now than they were? I'm sorry. Is Patrick Williams in a better position now than he was, before with them being denied the disabled player exception? Does that mean that AK is just trying to finesse, or does that mean that the Bulls are actually in a good position here? And I teased y'all with something going into the break, man. And I wanted to talk about it. And shout out to all the people that say they new here. Shout out, Will Dutton says, first time here, man. Loves talking sports. Shout out to you, Will. Good morning to all of y'all, man. Who else we got in the building? Somebody else said it was, Lil Season. Lil Saison says, great shout, tune in some more. Appreciate you for tuning in with me, my boy. I saw something yesterday that only the best teams in the NBA get on Twitter. And it was the funniest thing in the world. Because we were talking about the disabled player exception that the Bulls didn't get. It was tweeted out. Jay Crit in the morning, what's good? And underneath the tweet where it said by Sham Sharania, where it said the disabled player section, it was just Bulls fans just, why? I don't get it. Like, he's done for the year. He's like, he might be back for the playoffs, but this is season ending. We're talking about the regular season. This is season ending surgery. So under the Bulls fans' comments of why this is stupid, the league hates us, blah, 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 was other fans coming in and just being upset that the Bulls exist in the NBA. Just, dog, are you kidding me? You guys have gotten so many breaks this year. We have you just played the Atlanta Hawks that literally have the G League team and Trae Young. You guys just did. And it's just like, I'm dying laughing at this because I'm like, are we the Lakers? Did I miss when we became the Los Angeles Lakers out of nowhere? Like, why are we getting this much hate? We've been back for an hour. We're new in the winning, and it's just, the Bulls are getting favoritism from the NBA. I can't believe it. Was so exciting to see. It was so exciting to see, dog. I was cracking up. It was one of those where like I literally just was like, are you guys serious right now? Like, do you know that we had 10 players out to COVID as well? And we literally were playing games with 7 players, and we literally were still winning those games. That's the part. That's why they mad about it. Because AK and Mark Eversley have put together such a good team. We were still winning with nobody. We went out west. You got no center. That's all right. We'll figure it out. Javonte Green, guard Anthony Davis. What? It was hilarious. I mean, I was dying laughing when I saw it. Baki says, because Pat, we're Chicago in their eyes. We're supposed to stay in mediocrity. No, you know what? It's we're still a major city. That's why I always say, like, Chicago over everything. First things first. You know what I'm saying? But that's why it's always interesting to me, because it's like we're still a major city. So, like, yes, Green Bay wins, but at the end of the day, it's Green Bay, Wisconsin. When the Bears are good, the league shifts, and they're pissed about it. When Chicago is good, the league shifts. And they hate it. And I love it. It was the ultimate sign of, oh man, the Bulls are back. Our teams are good again. It was just hilarious to me. It was hilarious to me to see, man, honestly, because it was that, oh my God, I can't believe that the league wouldn't do something for Chicago, and just people just commenting in, just, are you serious, dog? You have to be kidding me. Chicago got all these breaks. Chicago got all of these. This is a joke, man. How did you guys do this? How do you guys were laughing at the moves he made this offseason. Laughing. New Orleans fans were cocky about us signing Lonzo Ball. They loved it. Take him. We don't want him anyway. He not going to do nothing. Lonzo been soft this whole time here. Lonzo doesn't get used down there. Man, Lonzo be messed up, man. Lonzo ain't no good. Oh, okay. Looks pretty good. Man, y'all went out and signed DeMar DeRozan? You think that's going to do DeMar DeRozan? What's he got left in the tank? He's been averaging 27 and 7. What's he going to do over there? Oh, he pretty good, ain't he? Best fourth quarter scorer in the league, MVP candidate. Come on, dog. I loved it. I loved seeing just NBA fans, the whole NBA world in the comments, just thrashing at Bears fans. Just trying to take out Bears fans. Or I'm sorry, Bulls fans. Just trying to crush our spirits. I loved it. You can't beat us. It's C-Red Nation out here, baby. I was dying laughing. And it's so funny because it's like, what are you mad about? We've been bad for so long. We've been mediocre for so long. Like, how are you upset? Literally every fan base that was in there complaining about it has had a good team. And honestly, right now, it's mostly the Atlanta fans. Honestly, it's mostly the Atlanta fans that are pissed right now about it, which is even funnier. It's just like, are you seriously upset that we've got a team that's competitive? Do you know the teams that, and the best part was just like, it really says a lot about your team when you're upset that our team is now competitive, when you're upset that our team is now moving in the right direction. It really says a lot about your team. Really puts in the frame of mind where your team is at, right? Because if your team is good, do you care that the Bulls are good? I don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, if your team is actually good, do you care that the Bulls are good? If I'm a fan of the Brooklyn Nets, do you think that I care that the Bulls are good? If I'm a Golden State fan, if I'm a Phoenix fan, do you think that I care that the Bulls are good? No, I'm worried about my team. You know when you care that the Bulls are good? When you're sitting up looking at us at the top of the standings. That's when you care. That's hilarious to me. That's hilarious to me, dog. I want to get into some of these national topics too, man, because last night, absolutely some big stuff went down. The Golden State Warriors took on Philly. That's definitely the wrong team. Who did the Golden State Warriors take on? Let's take a look here at the old scoreboard. Listen, you're gonna get the real on this show. I'm not gonna sit here and we don't have a stats guy that can pull that up for me real quick. You know what I'm saying? We got to get one. I'm not going to lie. We got to get one. Took on the Denver Nuggets last night in a losing effort. We got Baki. That's who we got. Need a stats guy? We got Baki. Stephen Curry became the first player to hit 3,000 3-pointers. He's now Mr. 3,000. I would expect him to hit probably before his career's over about 1,500 to 2,000 more. Heck, I would expect before this season is over for him to hit at least 300 more. When do we start to speak on Steph Curry in the GOAT debate? GOTE. Not greatest of all time, greatest of the era. Because for all the KDs, for all the LeBrons, for all the Giannis's, Steph Curry's still killing it. Still doing it on the original team, still doing it at a clip that's better than anyone else, still doing it to the point where he's got the best team in the Western Conference. Second best now, right? Let me see here. Check out the standings on that. No, best team in the Western Conference, 27-6. Still doing it at that point. When do we have that kind? Because I feel like we leave him out of it too much. And I've had this conversation with Kidd before on the show, I believe, but I look at it and I feel like we leave him out of it way too much, way too often for the things that he's accomplished, for the things he's able to do. That's a great comment by Mike Davidson. That's a great comment by Mike Davidson. So we can expect DL Hughley to play Steph in Mr. 3000 out of bounds. That is a great clap, Mike. You know what? I've started to only put super chats up. This comment is so great. That is a great comment, Mike. That is a great comment. Not only does he go DL Hughley, another king of comedy, but he also goes with the movie title Out of Bounds. That is a great comment. I give you credit. You have yourself a day, my good sir. You have yourself a day, my good sir. He's been in the Baki says he's been in the comment if you're a real conversation, if you're a real student of the game. The only people who disagree is Bron fans who hate him for beating Bron multiple times in the finals. Bill says he's the greatest shooter, not all around ball player. But that's the question, right? That's what I'm talking about though. Because we always talk about greatest as the greatest all around ball player. But shouldn't it be the guy that gets the job done most? And my debate on that is at no point in any realm of Tom Brady's career has he been better than Aaron Rodgers. Play-wise. He's never had a better arm. He's never had better accuracy. He's never had a better pocket presence. He's been sacked way more than Aaron probably. I actually probably should check on that one. That one might be cap on my part. But he's always had better protection. I do know that. And Aaron has been better. But we don't question that Tom Brady's the GOAT. Because he wins. And he gets it done in the moment. He gets it done in the biggest moments. Why don't we have that debate with basketball? It's almost like it at one point it was that. When it was Mike was the best all-around ball player. He was and he was the best winner at that time. Kareem won unquestionably, consistently. You know what I'm saying? Like it used to be you could be the best ball player, but you also had to be the best winner. In the NBA now, it's just become, is he the best basketball player? Is he the best talent? Is he the most talented player? Where it's not that way in any other sport. You look at hockey, if Patrick Kane scores all those goals, yeah, he's a great goal scorer. If he doesn't have 3 cups to go with it, is he a Hall of Famer? He was on really bad teams. All right. Stephen Curry has consistently gotten his teams in a position to be successful. When the team had nothing, when it was literally everyone is dead. Draymond's hurt, Clay's hurt, James Wiseman is hurt. The newest piece we got hurt. Steph, go out there and get it done. All right, he still gets them to an 8th seed. Was it 8? No, it was the 8th seed, right? Play-in game, maybe a 9th seed. He got in the play-in game. Wins the play-in game. Gets into the playoffs. Loses in the playoffs, yes. But literally had nothing. When do we start to have that conversation? How much more does Stephen Curry have? He's the greatest shooter of all time, absolutely. But he's also up there with winners. And yes, he did it with Kevin Durant, and he did it without Kevin Durant as well. That's the thing people don't want to look at. When people say, well, yeah, he had Kevin Durant on his team. He won without KD. Did he also lose without KD? Yes, he did. But me and Kidd broke down that 73-9 finals team. Lost a couple of pieces that absolutely helped you lose. And at that point, Cleveland was the better team. They just were. They came back, they won. They were the better team at that point. But Stephen Curry, to me, has put himself in a position where he needs to consistently be talked about as greatest of the era. Not because of talent, but because of what he's able to get done. I've seen the best talent not win. We talk about talent. If we really want to talk about talent, Karl Malone's one of the greatest, if not the greatest, power forward of all time. He could shoot, he could rebound, he could dribble, he could pass, he could do everything. He was a great all-around player. But Mike could do all those things and he won. Guess what? If Karl did all those things and he won, Karl's in the debate. See, I don't look at sports. A lot of people look at sports like, I'll give you a music analogy on it. Now, we look at sports like Nas looked at music. Nas is one of the greatest lyricists of all time. Absolutely, there's no question about it. The way he flips double entendres, the way he breaks down a metaphor, the way he is one of the greatest lyricists of all time. But it wasn't until recently that he started putting out music that had consistently good beats on it. He'd have a track here or there on an album where it'd be like, man, that bangs, and I'd take that track and I'd rock that. But a lot of them would be like, I'm not vibing with the song. I love the lyricism of it, but I'm not vibing with the song. See, there's a total package that goes into music. Just like there should be a total package that goes into sports. Yes, you can be the greatest all-around player, but does it matter if you're not finishing the job? And by the way, Bron's in the conversation, y'all. My point is, Steph has done enough to finish the job. Why isn't he? And the reasoning can't be because he's not 6'9", 260 pounds. Y'all got to understand, we're talking about somebody who's the greatest of all time at something. Let's keep it 100. LeBron's in the conversation. No disrespect to Bron. Bron's game is amazing. He's a great all-around player, and he's won. He's in the conversation. My point is Steph should be there. No disrespect to Bron, but is Bron the greatest passer of all time? Is Bron the greatest post player of all time? Is Bron the greatest defender of all time? Is Bron the greatest scorer of all time? Now, there you're getting to a point where you might be able to have a debate because he's high up on that scoring list. Well, he finishes the greatest scorer of all time. There you're able to have a little bit that debate. But it's still a debate. You know what there isn't a debate in? Stephen Curry is the greatest three-point shooter that has ever lived. And it's not going to be close when he's done. And I know Kidd brings up how Harden's close to him in three-pointers. He's going to pass up Reggie this year, and how Trae Young is gonna be, he's getting his whole career to do this. He might end up passing up Steph one day. Absolutely. All of that plays a factor into it. But right now, we have the greatest three-point shooter doing something no one else has done. He's hit 3,000 career three-pointers, and he's still going. We're not to the halfway point of the season yet. When do we add him into that next level? To that conversation? Because it's a conversation that no one's having this morning. We just call him the greatest shooter of all time. Which in that, GOAT, G-O-A-T. I'm just talking about the greatest of the era. Because I'm not somebody that comes out and has the GOAT, greatest of all time conversation, because basketball is not the same game anymore. It's an interesting topic, man. We've talked about a lot so far, man. Want to let you guys know that the phone lines are open. Call into the show, 855-908-5668, the Contender phone lines, where the Contender app, where you can hear nonstop sports talk while you're on the clock. If you want to call in, talk about anything that we've talked about this morning up to this point, man. Talked about Stephen Curry now. Talked about the Bulls. We've talked about John Madden's passing. If you drop your favorite memories of Madden, call in, talk about your favorite memories of John Madden. You know what I'm saying? We've talked about Jeff Dickerson. If you're a Chicago guy, if you're a Chicago fan, let us know, what you remember about JD. We talked about a lot of stuff, man. This is an episode of love, man. This is an episode of love. We're bringing back the memories. We're talking about some great stuff. And I want to hear from you. Call into the show, 855-908-5668. Cornelia said, would you put Steph on the Mount Rushmore? That's a good question. Would you put Steph on the Mount Rushmore? Pay no attention to the non-haircut I got. Honestly, me personally, I wouldn't. But it's because Mount Rushmore to me, there's some old players. But hey, look, maybe he's moving somebody off. Because right now, Mount Rushmore for me, of course, Jordan. I would probably go Kareem, Shaq, or not Shaq, Magic. And maybe, he ain't passed them up for me. Mount Rushmore is always weird, one, because I never remember what I said the first time. You know what I'm saying? Like my Mount Rushmore, I'm that kind of person that I've got an ever-changing list based on what I'm listening to, based on what I'm talking about at the moment. You know what I'm saying? Or based on what I'm thinking about it. Like mine is, I'm real bad with like Mount Rushmores or your top 5 because it's really like, who'd I watch lately? Whose highlights did I go back and see? Who did I remember? Because honestly, I've been on a Bernard King binge because I brought him up on the show and somebody sent me some highlights. And I just went back and started watching, buddy. And I was like, this mug gets busy. I think Bernard King doesn't get talked about enough in these situations when we're talking about players. I think Bernard King doesn't get brought up consistently enough.
Because Bernard King ain't on the Mount Rushmore.
I'm not talking about on a Mount Rushmore. I'm just talking about on as far as like a talent in the NBA. The pettiest man alive pulling up to the show. What's going on, my boy?
Lights go out. You know what happened. Anyway,
glad you got power back.
Moving back to the city.
Hey, look, when the power go out and you see snow, that's the day when you just look at it like, wait, what? Huh?
Moving back to the city. Didn't have these problems. I could see a blizzard go outside. I'd be like, oh, it's just a snow, you know? Whatever. Great conversation about Steph, though. Great conversation about Steph.
It's something that he's literally moved into unquestioned greatest shooter of all time at this point. But we don't have the conversation about him as, you know, how I talk, go greatest in the era of basketball. At this point, we still give it to KD. Right now, we still say we bring up KD. We bring up, people are now starting to bring up Giannis.
See these dogs in your front yard.
You know what I'm saying? People are now starting to bring up Giannis in that because he won and he was loyal and of how dominant he was in the finals and how unstoppable he is. But none of them are the greatest. As great as they are, as great of a shooter as KD is, he's not the greatest three-point shooter of all time. And as great as Bron is, you know, I brought it up, and is Bron the greatest defender of all time? Is he the greatest passer? I said you can have the conversation on greatest scorer, but even then, it's a debate. There's no debate with Steph on three-point shooting. Is Bron
was Ray Allen ever considered the greatest? Well, Ray Allen was considered the greatest shooter of all time, but
the greatest shooter of all time.
But Ray Allen wasn't on anybody's list. So what makes that different for Steph? Because in all actuality,
because Ray Allen
Ray Allen has rings.
He has a ring. He does have multiple,
Yes,
but
multiple
but
rings.
Ray Allen had to take a step back in his career for him to get that ring, where Steph's was, I'm taking a step forward in my career. I'm becoming the player now that Mark Jackson's not in the building, and I'm not being told to be a traditional point guard that I was meant to be. As great as Ray was, and listen, if y'all want to see a player, dog, go back and watch Jesus, the only black man that's ever been allowed to be called Jesus.
They definitely call
Hey,
Michael
listen.
Jordan Black Jesus.
Hey, listen. Well, yeah, okay, Black Jesus, that's different. That's different. Hey, look, but that was the players. You couldn't come out in the pay. They let that man put that on a jersey.
The one thing I'm not gonna, I can't do is I can't put Steph there simply because he's the greatest shooter. Because there were two other people who were considered the greatest shooter before, the evolution of the game. In all actuality, Steph just takes more threes per game over the course of 8 years. But in all actuality, he has 3 rings. 2 of them definitely is because of KD.
I mean, was he not a part of those teams though? Was he
He's a
not still
part
a
of those
big part of the
teams.
scoring on that? He's a big part of the scoring load. As much as we love KD, we saw last year how different it is when KD has to do it by himself.
Yeah, 40 points a game, without question.
Yeah, in an L.
Without question.
In
Oh,
an L.
in the L, but we
You know
also
what I'm
got to see
saying?
what it looked like for Steph to do it by himself, not making the playoffs.
He made the playoffs by himself.
He didn't
They
make the
made the
playoffs
playoffs
by
last
himself.
year.
He made the playoffs last year,
They made the playoffs last year.
did they?
Absolutely did.
First round exit?
First round exit for sure.
Okay, all right then. So I mean, like,
But KD had Kyrie in the first round. Kyrie got hurt in the second round. And listen, that's a whole different debate. You know what I'm saying? That's the part of it where
are
I'm
we
like,
saying that Kevin couldn't have done it without Kyrie?
the whole time, no. The whole
They lost in the
carrying the
play-in to
load.
Bron. No, they didn't make the playoffs. They made the play-in.
They lost the play-in to Brian.
Yeah, they lost the play-in to the. They lost 2 games back to back. They actually were in the playoffs, but they lost both games. Last one was to the Lakers. I know I wasn't crazy.
All right. I thought they
No, listen, it doesn't take anything away from them.
beat the Lakers last year. They lost to the Lakers last year?
They lost to the Lakers.
That's right, Brian, man. Yeah, bum. But but
So
no, they made the play in. That's right. The play in was the play. Yeah, I don't know how is that playoffs? Because like in baseball, it's playoffs technically.
nah,
Are we
Look, it,
not giving that playoffs?
it's so new that I wouldn't consider it.
In baseball, it's playoffs.
This ain't baseball,
Yeah,
dog.
man.
This
Like, hey, it's a game. It's a playoff game, man. But I don't know. But no,
does that make him the greatest though? Does that put him, like, when you say can you put him on the Mount Rushmore? It's like, no. You put him Mount Rush. You could put him on the Mount Rushmore of point guards.
but I'm not talking about all time. When Mark say Mount Rushmore, those are your all time players. There's some legends you'll never move off that list for me. You'll never move Kareem off that list for me. You'll never move Jordan off that list for me. Steph could hit 6,000 more 3-pointers, and he'll never move Jordan off of my Mount Rushmore. I'm talking about the greatest of the era, GOTE. Still GOAT. Still spells GOAT, by the way. Y'all see, P.kidd came up with that. Shout out to him, man. He's a great guy.
Then yes, he's the greatest of this era. He's defined this era more than LeBron has, and that's not even hate.
To me, I mean, now, is it even Brian now? You know what I'm saying? Is Brian the debate, or is it KD this debate?
I think KD becomes a debate from 2017 onward, so we see how that goes.
Right.
But from 2010 up until, it was definitely the LeBron show.
Yeah.
But the reason I say that Steph defines the era more is because he impacted the game more. Basketball has forever changed because of Steph Curry, not because of LeBron James. No one's trying to dunk like LeBron. Everyone's trying to shoot like Steph.
Well, I don't know if nobody trying to dunk like LeBron, but it's hard to do. You got to be 6'8". You got to be able to have a 40 something inch vertical. You got, there's some caveats that go into dunking like LeBron. I can be 5'10" and shoot like Steph.
The unfortunate part is that's the downside of being somewhat of a big man in the league. Kareem absolutely Kareem changed the game in himself.
Yeah.
Actually had a shot that no one has really perfected. Has
You
won
know
on every
who's got
level.
it? You know who's got it, and it irritates my soul because I've seen him do it consistently enough at this point, and it really irritates me that he can do it. Is
Cat.
is old Dwight Howard? Young
Mm.
Dwight Howard couldn't do it. Young Dwight Howard was just like, I'm gonna jump higher than you and throw it in there. Old Dwight Howard just be like, I'd be like, did he just skyhook? And well, like you're telling me old Dwight Howard's the one dude that can do it?
Hey, working on the game, man.
You got
Working
to
on the game.
at that point,
Working on the game.
But and here's the thing. Here's the other thing that I brought up. I'm not here telling you Steph's the best talent. If that's the conversation, but for some reason, when we got to the 2010s, the best talent took over the conversation for GOAT. The best talent took over the debate for GOAT, not who was doing it higher. And the example I gave was Tom Brady. At no point in Tom Brady's career has he been the better talent than Aaron Rodgers. But we do not question who the GOAT is. Tom Brady's never had a better arm, better accuracy, better touchdown to interception ratio. Never.
The goalpost moved.
The goalpost moved.
And it moved on a societal level because it was like we're comparing people to something that won't happen again. The goalpost is going to move in football again.
I don't
No
think
one's.
so. Goalpost has never moved in football. It's always been about, like, think about who the greatest in football. When you think about the greatest in football, you always think about the guys that won. Like, as much as we would talk about here in Chicago, we always said Walter Payton was the greatest running back, one of the greatest football players of all time. But around the rest of the world, they would say, but Emmitt Smith got the job done. Emmitt Smith got records too. And he got more rings to go
more
along.
rings.
It wasn't just about being the greatest. And Michael Jordan was unquestionably the best all-around player. But
that's what people don't understand. You could strip Michael Jordan of all his rings, he still makes the Hall of Fame.
He still makes the Hall of Fame. Absolutely.
He still has something that no one else has done. 10 scoring titles.
But here's the caveat, right? Say Karl Malone wins those rings.
You know, I'm a huge Karl Malone fan.
Say Karl Malone wins those rings. Now there's a debate.
Karl Malone, people don't realize that it's only because of Michael Jordan that Karl Malone doesn't have 2 rings and 4 scoring titles. And that's not cap. You can go back and look at it. Karl Malone was number 2 in scoring a lot of those seasons. Karl Malone has never led the league in scoring, and he has only 2 or 3 seasons in his 19-year career when he's under 20 points. Everything else, he's above board and killing it. Who's above him? Michael Jordan.
But even with Mike being above him, here's what we would say. Yeah, but Karl won. Mike could have been the greatest scorer. Mike could have been the greatest, whatever it was. But if Karl wins those rings and is anywhere close to the same amount of rings as Michael Jordan, we're like,
it's a debatable conversation.
Yeah, you can't talk about, you can't not bring Karl up though.
Because Karl's number 2 in points. He's like top 10 in rebounds. Like, it would be a different move. The goalpost move. We changed it from winning, which is what those players played for. Even Mike Johnson, I played to win. I didn't play for stats. I played to win.
Yeah.
And so we got to stop removing the entire reason why they play. And we also have to stop saying that something's hate just because we have a different opinion on a particular player. Like, no one hates Anybody.
Listen, I
Like
tell you, right?
LeBron is on my Mount Rushmore, for God's sakes. But if we're gonna be honest about the impact of particular players within this era,
yeah,
again, for the last 5 years, go to the gym. Go to any gym on any level and tell me how the game is played. The game is played completely different because of one particular player. That's unanimous. You can't even say it. Can't even say that's not true.
You know what though? I'll say this. You also have to look at. I can't say Brian didn't change the NBA, but
How?
I don't think he changed the NBA for us.
He
I think
changed the NBA for players.
he changed the NBA for players, which is something that you definitely have to take into account and definitely have to give him his credit for. He told players that, listen, y'all play, y'all have the power. And players had never had that kind of power before. And maybe that makes the NBA more entertaining. I had that conversation earlier as well. Do you like the less loyal NBA, or do you like where you got your guys for 5 to 7 years and these are your guys and you're going to grow with them and this is your team, and yeah, it may suck.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, listen, if this was the early 2000s, guess what our team will be this year? Kobe White, Zach LaVine, Larry Markkinen, Patrick Williams, Wendell Carter Jr. And it will be that same team for the next 5 years. Do you like this league better? It's easy to say no now because we sucked. But if you're good, we love what the Spurs did. We love that Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker played most of their careers there. You know what I'm saying? We love that. So like it's interesting conversation when we talk about Steph knocking down 3,000 of them. And listen, at this point, do we got to bring up the conversation that he's done it all with the same team as well? Steph probably finishes his career in Golden State. I don't see Steph moving anywhere.
More than likely.
Golden State will take, to me, Golden State will take an L on the next team starting sooner to pay Stephen Curry again. That kind of loyalty. The come on back Dirk kind of loyalty.
Brian didn't make no big man want to dribble no ball down the court. That was magic. What are we talking about? What are we talking about?
You at least got to give some context, dog.
No, I read it. You know what? This is why I don't belong in the comments. This is why they call me petty.
That is full conversation.
That whole thing was no. He did not. No, stop the cap. Stop the cap. Come on now. It's one thing to be a basketball fan. It's one thing to be a basketball idiot. Don't do that. Don't be that guy. Like, I can give you a whole slew of big men who actually brought down the ball. Well, power forwards brought down the ball.
6'9",
Scottie Pippen's same height as LeBron. Magic's the same height as LeBron. Like, we give credit where credit is due. Let's be objective here. Don't just be a fan of a player. Be a fan of the game. When you're a fan of the game, you can actually have an unbiased conversation. And having an unbiased conversation, it's not my fault that the name that Michael Jordan keeps coming up more than you like it to come up and stuff like that. It's not my fault. Hey, guess what? It ain't Mike's fault either. Man was just that goddamn good.
Hey, listen, it kind of is. Hey, Cornelia said Shaq was dribbling up and down the court. That's a fact. Hey, it wasn't pretty, but he definitely did it. But you know what it is? This is the thing, right? Here's the thing. The talking point of, like, I feel like Muggs feel like you can't have the talking point with Steph because that means you're putting down Brian. That's not how sports work.
Definitely not.
That's not how sports work. Like, guess what? Brian's going to go down as one of the greatest players to ever dribble a basketball.
Period.
It's not even a question.
I don't have to even like the man. I got to admit that.
You know what I'm saying?
And I have nothing against him. That's just the narrative. Like, what are you going to say?
But I can say Aaron Rodgers is going to go down as one of the greatest talent at quarterback that I've ever seen in my life. Probably the greatest talent at quarterback that anyone has ever seen in their life. And guess what?
Still ain't won them rings.
He might get 3 rings if he wins in the next 2 years, 3 years.
He ain't winning in the next 2 years. That window's closed.
Didn't you pick the Packers to win this year?
No, I didn't. I picked the Cowboys.
Oh, you picked the Cowboys. That's right. Good call. Yeah.
Most efficient QB you've ever seen.
You know what I'm saying? I can tell you that he's great. Guess what? I saw Michael Jordan be the greatest player of all time. Guess what? I still seen Kareem be great.
You know what greatness looks like for a football player? Name me the last season he's thrown double-digit INTs.
He's never had one.
Well, he has one. He has 2. We were in high school last time he threw double-digit INTs.
Hey, look, I was like, I didn't even think he had one.
Or coming out of, I was out.
I might have been
2008. I was in.
Might have been in like 5th grade. You know, you got a little age on me.
Like realistically, that's the greatness right there. Most efficient. You can't say he didn't pass a lot because the dude is slinging that peel. Several 4,000 yard seasons. This is before it became the norm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it's going to go down as one of the greatest QBs of all time. He was statistically better than Brady. And then you look at Brady.
It's about the wins. No, it's not. Listen, it's not just statistically. He's a better quarterback than Tom Brady. He looks better. He moves better. He passes better. He's a better quarterback than Tom Brady. But guess what? Tom got the job done. Hey, you want to know who would have ran for that touchdown?
Tom.
Old slow butt self?
Tom.
Because
Tom wants to win.
Because Tom wants to win.
Now, here's the thing. There's levels to the desire of winning. That's not to say Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to win. But does he want it more than Tom Brady?
Does he want it more than Tom? Clearly not, because Tom won that year.
Guess what? I have 7 reasons to believe no.
I will backhand it. Listen, when I can backhand you with both hands and it hurts, the right hand might hurt a little less than the left hand because the left hand got 5 rings and the right hand only got 2. But I got 2 hands.
I like using football. I like using football for those type of debates because it's easier to compare. I can compare Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers because in most of their careers, they were in very similar situations as far as talent around them, protection, things of that nature, and their ability to drive the ball down the field.
Yeah.
Right? Only reason why you get 4,000 yards with 40 TDs in the season is because you threw the peel and someone on the other end caught it. At this end, as long as someone's catching it on the other end, guess what? We can compare apples to apples. Now, if you're right.
But it's about being able to have a conversation about multiple people being good. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, guess what? They're both Hall of Famers.
And
they're
filthy rich.
Unquestioned and filthy rich. Yeah, ridiculous.
And filthy rich.
Amazing.
Like, both of them can stop playing right now.
Tom Brady bought a castle. You know what I'm saying? He's ridiculous.
Both of them.
Tom Brady built a castle. That's a different level of rich. What Tom, what are you thinking about for the front lawn? Moat. What?
Also married one of the most famous women in the world.
Listen, killing the game out here, man.
Hey, let Tom, what incredible hair. The interesting thing about this entire conversation is just general fans are not able to just sit there without bias and go through all the nuances as to what makes a person great. So, well, they take away the rings. Well, if you take away the rings, you take away why we play the game.
And to me, it's the conversation of,
and please don't be that. Oh, what Robert Horry has. We're talking about people who lead their team.
Well, to me,
People who dominate their sport, lead their team. We're not talking
yeah,
about role players. If you have to bring up a role player conversation, it means you've already lost.
yeah,
You've
and
lost.
well, this is the thing to me.
Steve Kerr has 5.
This is the thing to me. If Damien, you gotta relax, though. If I didn't even know how to transition off of that. Let me
It's a
focus on
hard
you and
sell.
not the comments. Let me stay my butt out the comments.
It's a
No,
hard.
if listen, I can say that Brian is an amazing basketball player. I can say that Kevin Durant is an amazing basketball player. I can say that Stephen Curry is an amazing basketball player. All of these things can be true. For some reason in today's era, the only way for you to believe that Brian is a great basketball player is for you to believe that everyone else is terrible. The only way for you to believe that Brian is better than Michael Jordan is for you to say that the 90s was a terrible time in basketball and there was a bunch of plumbers running around.
Which is also a dumb narrative because like
Yeah,
half of the whole NBA's 75 list came from the 90s, 80s, and 90s. Go look at it.
I
All
mean,
those plumbers.
it's
All those plumbers.
it's how we talk about sports today. Multiple things can't be true. You know, when we bring up what's wrong with the Bears, it couldn't have been Mitch. It's got to be Matt, and only Matt. Matt messed them up. Okay,
And
but
that's a good argument. It's a good argument for that.
no, listen, no, listen. Listen, I brought it up earlier. It's like I said with Jim Boylan and the Bulls. Jim Boylan was an awful coach. You have to remove the worst piece. Larry Markkinen still missed wide open 3-pointers in the corner.
It's a horrible comparison.
Both things can be true.
Horrible comparison.
Not at all. Matt Nagy's a terrible coach. I don't take that away from him.
Football is a game of schemes and things of that nature where
Hey,
individual talent doesn't always shine through like that.
Hey, listen, Matt Nagy's is a terrible coach. I've absolutely watched Mitch sail a ball 10 yards over Allen Robinson's head when he had good protection. Both things can be true.
Hey, that's going to happen.
Hey, it shouldn't happen that consistently. But at the same time, you also have to have the conversation of, hey, why aren't the fat guys in front blocking? Multiple things are the reasons that things go right, and multiple things are the reasons that things go wrong. To think that Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan are the only reason that the Bulls are winning right now is a dumb statement. Do you need them to win? Absolutely. But you know what else you need? You need Billy Donovan to have a heck of a scheme in there for you to be successful. You need Lonzo Ball to be able to set people up. You need Vooch to be the only guy down there who knows how to tip the ball back out. Multiple things lead to success. Multiple things lead to failure. We have to have the conversations in terms of that because we have very hardline black and white conversations, and that's not how life works. You ever had a day when you got a domino effect? By the end of the day, you ready to just like the next person that says hi to you, you want to take them out because like so many things have led to this point. And then you just got some random dude walking down just like, hey, how you going, bud? Shut up. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I can tell you've had a lot of those days.
Hey, look, sometimes you just be ready to take out the neighbors, man. But stay safe out there. No,
Stay safe out there. Lord. I love my neighbors, by the way. Not gonna have me on tape. Something happens to them. Hey,
later,
something happened to the neighbors. They'd be like, "Oh, you see, Paris was online talking about." No, I have nothing against any of my neighbors. Pat has a horrible relationship with the ex. Throwing him under the bus right now.
Actually, all of my neighbors are mad cool over here. It's pretty dope.
You just met him.
You gotta save it. You gotta clean it up.
You just met him. You gotta have a couple seasons.
You know what I said? You know what I said? Because we just moved over to the new house. And it's a from the people that are immediately around me, it's an older group. There's some younger people, couple houses down. They got kids and stuff like that. Couple people, couple houses down that are younger over there. But like immediately next door to me, I think the lady's 75. Over here, I think he's probably in his 80s. Across the street from me, there's a lady that's like 100. Like she's legit like 98.
You're in the safest neighborhood in the area.
You know what I'm saying? It's great. I love it. Snowplows came through last night out of nowhere. I was just like, look at that. I haven't seen that during the day ever. But the thing that I'm waiting to see is like when I have a summer party out here with my nice big backyard and it's just full of my black family and we blasting like Ja Rule for some reason. When they come outside and you just hear that first dim 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 dim. Like, hold up, wait a minute now. That's what I'm waiting to see. That's when I'm gonna know what kind of neighbors I got.
I'm not touching that one because it's like a whole racial conversation there. I'm not touching it with a 10
Hey,
foot
listen,
pole.
it's gonna be funny to me. Did you see him? Hey, listen. Hey, I like Bruce. He said, invite the neighbors. I seen a conversation. I seen a TikTok, buddy came to the door and rang the ring doorbell. And he said, hey, that party last night was ridiculous, man. You had all those people over and you didn't invite me. This makes no sense, man. And I'm sick of it. Next time you do that, I'm calling the cops. Think of the neighbors. Like walked off. Like, that's the kind of neighbors I'm looking for. That's the kind of neighbors I'm looking for in the neighborhood, man.
Man, by the time I move, I'm trying to be in a space where I don't even see my neighbors. You have to go through the gate in the roundabout to get to the house. How about that? Like for some odd reason, I have no in between. I'm either dead in the city or I'm way out where I don't want my neighbors. All right. I want to be able to have so much land between me and my neighbors that I can sit there and play 2 games of football like simultaneously before they even realize that something's happening.
Yeah.
That's just where I'm at with it.
I don't know how I want to. You know what? I'll say this. I've been blessed with good neighbors. I've never had a bad one. So I don't know. Like a bad neighbor probably changes your whole experience with it. Like for me, like I don't mind having the neighbors around as long as they cool with me blasting my music at 2 o'clock in the morning sometimes. Can't be an every weekend thing. You gotta relax.
I'm
But you
looking at this. Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
Steve-O said, I love Mike said the 98-year-old gonna roll up with a red cup. Steve-O said red cups and black and miles.
It's a good and bad day at the same time.
Oh,
Speaking of Tom Brady, how do you feel about the last couple things that came out? It's hitting the news right now. Tom Brady calling out New England for not reciprocating the love really much. He was committed to being a Patriot. They didn't commit to him. Called him out. He's gone on to win a ring by himself. On pace for a second one. Can't
yeah.
deny that one. Um, One of the most interesting story in sports. How do you feel about it?
That's another one that it's like somebody got bored and ran out of stuff to write, so they wrote about something that we all already knew.
Well, Tom has a documentary out. Name
Yeah,
is that ring.
I mean, he's telling us. Oh! It's in the documentary.
Yeah.
Okay, I knew it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick definitely looks his players as chess pieces. 100%. He definitely looks his players as chess pieces. So to think that Bill Belichick doesn't think of him of Tom Brady as the king that you have to protect isn't surprising. Because he probably looks at it as himself as the king. Tom Brady, what would Tom Brady be on the chessboard for Bill? Probably, I mean, honestly, probably a rook. Nah, probably a bishop. Probably a bishop, because the bishop still has that flexibility to move around more
Who the
freely.
heck is the queen then? I
It's
mean,
still Bill. Hey, look, it's still Bill. Bill's both. It's Bill and his son. The queen is his son. Or it's no, Josh McDaniels. Because that's who's going to take over as the next football player or as the next head coach, I mean.
I could see that.
Tom's a piece. And guess what? Bill feels real good right now that he replaced the piece. Now you missed it. You missed out on a possible last Super Bowl. Bill didn't have the money to put a Super Bowl team together. Guess what? Best time for me to cut bait with Tom Brady. It sucks, but you know what? His philosophy works. But he uses that philosophy evenly. That's the part that's weird, because normally when you're the god, when you're the GOAT, you're not a part of the philosophy, but Bill will cut you a year too early.
The only reason why we're saying anything about it is because he put protection around a rookie QB, and they're having success, which I would say is marginal because we were on the fence earlier this year.
Well, I mean, it's also the same thing he did with Tom, though.
Same thing he did with Tom. I give you that.
When Tom got in, it was just like, oh, well, we better protect the kid. Don't do nothing stupid. Don't hurt nobody. Just kind of go out there and do what you do. Like the first.
But if Bill doesn't win another ring,
before
he retires, was it a successful move?
No, it didn't work out. Well, depends on how much he wins. Depends on how much he wins too. You got to look at that too. Like if he gets to the Super Bowl with Mac Jones, and he gets beat by Justin Fields, y'all see how I slipped that in there? You know, then it's one of those. All right, you got back. You made it back. You did enough. You built a Super Bowl caliber team. You just didn't win. Because at the same tip, Bill is lost with Tom Brady as well.
Yeah. No, he ain't. Listen.
He won a lot with Tom Brady, but he's also lost with
him. What is Tom? 7 and 10?
7 and 10. Right? Because he lost to 7 and 9.
He's 7 and 9.
Am I tweaking? He lost to the Giants twice. No, 7 and 10. He lost to Nick Foles.
Yeah, he lost to Nick Foles.
7 and 10. Which 10 Super Bowls. 10 Super Bowls, y'all. 10 Super Bowls. By the way, Bill's got 9 of them. Bill's been to 9 of them.
That's defining an era.
That's defining an era for sure.
No.
That's dominating it. That's not defining an era, because you can't. No one's gonna. It will be. I would be surprised if we're alive to see somebody win like that again. Because that's not how. You know what you hope for with your team? Of course, you hope for multiple championships. But honestly, what you hope for is that you get one in a 10 to 12 year span. And you win a lot throughout that whole time span, that you're always in the conversation. What they did is unheard of. Eli Manning's going to make the Hall of Fame because he went to 2. What they did is unheard of. Like, that's not defining an era, because defining an era would be like, this is what's going to lead to the next generation of football. You're not going to do that ever again.
Think so?
If I see somebody I would be surprised if in the next 50 years we see somebody get the 10 Super Bowls or 9 Super Bowls with essentially the same few pieces at the head. I mean, most of those we're talking about
money and egos are going to get in the way. People are not going to, be willing to make the moves that Bill made. Bill absolutely Tom Brady didn't. Tom took pay cuts. At the same time, we talk about Wes Welker being one of his primary targets and stuff like that. They absolutely made, I don't want to call them nobodies, but they called second rounders. Was Wes a second rounder? He wasn't a first rounder. Was he a first?
I don't know. He was
Tom has never had a receiving core like he's had the last 2 years, and he still won 6 Super Bowls before he got to Tampa Bay.
Yeah. They ran the era of the page. And here's the thing, right? Do we give Bill credit for keeping that same energy no matter who you are?
I didn't see Bill come back from down 28-3. I saw Tom making plays.
I saw a defense that didn't give up any points in the second half while they were still throwing the ball. A defense they got 28 points put up on them, and then all of a sudden was like, hey, we got to wake our butts up. I give Tom the absolute credit for coming back in that game, but nobody talks about how that defense did not let them score again. We all talk about, oh my God, I can't believe they would be passing the ball up 28-3.
Which
It's
was the
like, yeah,
dumbest thing ever.
hey, listen, you know when them passing the ball up 28-3 don't matter? When they're completing the passes.
Yep.
If Matt Ryan goes on and completes the passes and scores one more touchdown, the game's over.
You're not even having the same conversation.
We're talking about the Patriots getting blown out in the Super Bowl and maybe a nice comeback to make the Super Bowl entertaining.
Yeah.
So I give Bill credit. You got to give the players more of the credit, but I give Bill credit because he had his boys. They turned it up. They played how they were supposed to play. They didn't play right in the first set. Like, to me, I look at Bill as is it going to work if you continue to do things the way you do them? And so far, it seems like it's gonna work if he keeps doing it the Bill way. We definitely are. I just bust myself in the face with my own mic. Wow. But we definitely are more on Tom's side with it right now because Tom's winning and he's poised to make another Super Bowl run. And if not for injury, he's probably the Super Bowl favorite.
To be fair, we're in an era that doesn't like the structure of the old guard.
And
That's what it is.
Bill is absolutely the old guard.
He's definitely the old guard.
Bill come in and he'd be like, "All right, Tom, see you later." Like, oh,
This,
are you not gonna love me unconditionally?
this is where the men of old, who I guess people would describe as a man, being a man's man,
Yeah.
that type of mentality doesn't fly the same way. It doesn't, you paying me millions of dollars doesn't just do it. You have to also be my psychiatrist and things of that
Yeah.
nature. We have to be best friends. They weren't
Yeah.
best friends back in the day.
Hey,
They came to do a job. They listen. I had no idea as a kid that Dennis Rodman and Michael Jordan didn't talk.
went
Had
out to dinner
no
one
I
time when Dennis showed up.
had no idea that Tom and some of his teammates really didn't talk. I
That
thought,
makes
man,
you know what though? On a football side, that makes more sense to me though, because you don't spend a lot of time with everybody. Like, I don't have to spend time with like Vince Wilfork. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have to spend time, and you still got to come out and get to the quarterback. Like, if I'm Justin, I don't got to kick it with Khalil Mack because I don't spend every day at practice with Khalil Mack. But I do sit next to Darnell Mooney every day, so more than likely we're gonna have a better relationship.
yeah, I get that.
Yeah, like
Get that part.
I get it on a basketball side. It's kind of wild because it's literally just 15 of y'all. Like, I get not liking everybody, but you could like y'all don't even have a conversation. Like, at some point, I'm gonna text Kirk Heinrich and be like, "What's good, dog? You know, I've been on the team a while. How you feeling?" Like,
It's but those days are gone. People want to be in situations where they feel good,
yeah,
and no one talks about that. Is it better? Who knows? I guess, yeah. I guess from a personnel standpoint, it is better. From a human standpoint, it is better. I guess. I don't know.
I don't know.
I've worked with
Hey,
people
listen,
who I
hey,
didn't like
listen,
all the time. We did good
hey,
work
listen.
together, though.
Here's the thing: is it better? Because the guys we're talking about that did it that way got a lot of jewelry.
They won.
Hey, listen, the ones that are best friends ain't really even made the Super Bowl. Yeah, I'm saying, like, it's one of those where I'm just like, all right, like, yeah, you gotta. I can't begrudge anything Bill's done. I can't begrudge anything Tom Brady's done because it works.
For them.
Like, yeah, maybe now because Tom's down in Tampa, he's got more people hanging out with him. We know he's got AB with him. We know he's got, you know what I'm saying? Maybe then it's like, okay, this is cool. We can still do this, blah, blah, blah. Let's go out to dinner. But it's also like, all right, but that's also still working. Like, he's winning. And I'll tell you this, if he was losing, nobody would like him.
If being friends stops you from winning, that is not your friend. It's not your friend.
I don't know about that. Because at the end of the day, it's about
That's my associate.
nah. I would say Bill and Tom were associates. Because friendship is built more on what we have in likeness. What are we like minded? Do we enjoy similar things?
But if it
Yes, I
stops,
want to. Yes, I want to enjoy winning, but like you said, like Jordan and Dennis weren't friends. They just won. They were less than associates. They were coworkers. They were coworkers. I ain't talking to you. The most emotion Michael Jordan showed towards Dennis Rodman is when he had to go get him from Vegas. Hey Dennis, we
but
got practice.
again,
Oh, all right.
if I'm on a mission to win and my friend is impeding that, is that my friend?
Is your friend see that? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like I guess if he's causing you to lose, you can have beef with him. Like if he's the reason you're losing, but has there ever really been, usually with Bill and them, like the reasons that they would lose would be cut a day later. You can't be the reason that somebody who was it? Somebody like dropped a pass that Tom threw him in the end zone. Mo was gone. Cost him again. He was gone that week. I was like, God. Bill didn't even let him come to practice the next week, dog. Could you imagine playing under that though? Like you gotta win. Could you imagine playing under that kind of stress of like, if I mess this up, I will not have a job in the morning. And it's preseason.
I can.
I don't even got Tom Brady throwing me the ball right now.
I can imagine that because guess what? What am I getting paid to do?
I get you.
You're getting paid millions of dollars to do what?
Yeah, but
So when that ball comes your way, you're wide open. Guess where that ball needs to be when it's in the vicinity of the numbers on your jersey? It needs to be right here. And
Oh
if you're
man.
not doing that, like I get that. I have no now. Would it suck to be on the other end of it? Absolutely. I would be devastated. God dang, I dropped the ball. But again, I
No,
dropped the
you know
ball.
what? I'm trying to remember what it was. It was something like he had actually been having a good season, but he dropped that. I don't remember who it was. He dropped that ball to win a game or something like that. And I mean, he was gone within like
You don't drop a game winning pass.
an hour. Like it was get dog. It was like, yeah, great season, kid. And he was picked up and he's still good, but it was just like,
No, he's probably already on the
forget about
outs.
it.
He's probably already on the outs. Yeah, I'm being light about the situation. I mean, that's really harsh. If you're having a good season, you drop one pass and all of a sudden you cut. Like, nah,
He was
that's
gone, dog.
that's wild. That's mad wild.
He was gone. But nah, it's
It's
just
like the
one of
stuff.
you said what?
No, I was about to say it's like the stuff Shannon Sharp brought up, and his singular focus to win. There was no balance.
No.
There is
And
no balance.
that I understand. That to me, I understand. That to me is one of those where if we're trying to get to that next level, if we're trying to figure it out, like there's always that feeling when you're trying to be successful, like you're pushing that Hellcat started up again, didn't it?
Nah, I think it's a utility company.
Oh, there's always that feeling like you're trying to push a wall to the next level. Especially like I feel it all the time with this show. If I'm not like, I don't understand how not to do something. Like yesterday, I was feeling a little under the weather. My wife was like, take some Benadryl. And I was like, I can't. I'll go to sleep. She was like, you probably need to. And I was like, I can't. I got stuff to do. And then I took the Benadryl and I passed out and I was pissed off because I fell asleep for 4 hours.
Yeah, no, I'm not that guy. I'm going to get my sleep.
Nah,
Can't
but
do
that's
it.
but when I'm not doing something, I feel like I'm missing out. I feel like I'm failing. I feel like I'm not doing enough to get to that because you got to be doing something. You got to win. If you want something bad enough, you gotta do what you got to do to make it happen. If that means I got to miss out on some sleep, I'll see you in the morning. By the way, we'll be here later tonight for the Bulls live call and Bulls post game show. I appreciate y'all for tuning in with that as well. Y'all been showing mad love on that. Man, the super fans have been busting too, man. I got to figure out now. Y'all let me know because I can't see it. Can y'all see, like, there's custom emojis that come with signing up? Can y'all see them or not? Let me know. Because to me, I want to know so that I can figure out how I can get them so that y'all can see them because the custom emojis are actually hilarious. So if y'all can figure out how to post them and stuff like that, there's a bull's head one, there's a crying Jordan face, there's a C red one, and then I forget what the other one is, but it's a few of them. Let me know that. I think it's a Bears one. I think it's a bear down one. I gotta unveil this new segment, dog. I gotta unveil this new segment because we want to make this show entertaining for y'all.
Oh yeah, it is there.
Oh snap! They can see it. Shout out to Cornelius, man. Okay, look at there. That's pretty dope. I like that. I want to see. We want this show to be entertaining for y'all. We want this show. It's a 3-hour morning show, and we realize that at some point we get boring because we run out of stuff to talk about, which is amazing on our part because me and Kid can run our mouth all day. I think the 3-hour show was the first time that we realized, like, no, there's a limit to this. Like at some point, even we get bored with ourselves. So we don't want to.
We just get bored with the topics.
We get bored with the topics. You know what I'm saying? We get bored with the topics. So we want this show to be mad entertaining. We want the show to be, the C red one is my favorite one, dog. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's the reason I want people to sign up. Can you see it?
I saw it.
Yeah, the C red one is my favorite one. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's the one that describes me most.
Don't know whether we seeing red or you're high. I don't know what's going on.
I'm either high, you know what I'm saying, or I'm just it's just C Red Nation.
Did you see a flicker?
Did I see a flicker? No, if it flickered, your whatchamacallit would be gone. Your internet would have went out. Your power flickered just now.
No, I was on a Zoom call yesterday. It didn't do that. It flickered. I was like, what the heck is that? Like, I was in the middle of a meeting and me and the lady, she was like, yeah, something did just happen. I was like,
hey,
yeah, what happened?
You thought it was Batman about to pull up on you. Like, what did I do?
Dog, I was sitting there like, what the heck?
You want what he's having?
Then my wife gonna ask me, "You did pay the bill, right?" I was like, "Of course I paid the freaking
bill." Bro, that's the worst. Like, that's the worst, dog.
Like, there's a couple bills I wouldn't pay, but the lights is getting paid. Okay,
that is the worst, dog. When you get that one where it's like, "Hey, did you pay that?" It's like, "Yes, I paid it." Like, why? Like something's clearly wrong. Like
I'm not acting surprised.
Hey, look, that's not how shutting off the power goes. Hey, which is also my favorite moment where I'm like, "Oh, baby, you ain't never had your power turned off, have you?" You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you ain't never had your power turned off. That you poor thing.
I told you that story, right?
With what?
My wife had forgot to pay it for like 3 months.
The electric?
She forgot to pay the electric for 3 months. It was the only bill she had to pay. And I came home one day and I hit the lights, and the lights didn't come on. I was livid because I have never had my lights cut off.
Yeah.
Like, no. One time, but my mom I was so young at the point it didn't matter. So I had never experienced it before. I'm like, I pay good money. This is supposed to work. Like when I hit this, the funny part is I hit the switch and I checked the light bulb. I was like, I'm supposed to have power. Like, why is this light not coming on? Right. And in our condo, it was like this one big light in the middle of the living room. So it was like if it didn't come on, you didn't have lights, period. I didn't notice that the microwave was out, the time on the stove was out, all of that stuff.
You thinking you just got a bad light up in this joint.
Dog, she came in and she was like, oh no. And I was like, oh no, don't sound good. Like, oh no. And she could see how pissed I was. Like that was like, get him on the phone, whatever it costs. I need this light to work.
Dog, that happened with us. So we had but it wasn't the lights. It was the toilet or the water for us. we had a toilet that was running. So like it would run because the seal wasn't right. So it would run and then it would stop. But it was doing that like all day. So the water bill is just jacking up because it's doing this all day. So we get home one day and I get home from a long day at work. I'm on a shutdown. I'm sweating. It's like 98 degrees outside. I've been in a paper mill all day. A paper mill is like another 100 degrees on top because of all of the machinery. I was in a ceiling. I'm ready to be done. I get up in that mug, man. I just wanted a glass of water before I got in the shower. I hit that mug. It said, bro, hey, if you know, you know, man. When you hear that sound, when you touch water,
The wheel is dry.
Duh. I was like, never. I go hit the shower, nothing. Sink. I'm testing stuff at this point to see if it's something wrong. Boy, I
Oh
look
no.
outside, see where they had dug up the little you dig out of the grass. I'm like, no, dog. It's over. So we end up, man, we was down bad on that because the bill had been like, because the toilet been running, the bill ended up being like $1,400 for the month.
Shh.
We called them. We was like, payment plan. So all we got for you. Chris said, you got a glass there.
Dog.
Dog, it was one of the it was that, and then when the furnace went out and we ain't had the money to fix it yet, but we was in the middle of winter. And so that was the only other those were the two things that I had. But you know what it was? I didn't, like you said, as a kid, you don't realize you without stuff. So I never had that moment as a kid where like I was like, man, something got cut off. So I remember it was one time we was just going to my big mama's to take showers all the time. I was like, why the heck are we going over here to take showers? Oh, the water messed up. And like hearing that sound, like when you cut it on, it was like, I was like, water wasn't messed up. We ain't had no water, did we? We was behind on the bill. Like all these memories started flooding back, dog. It was wild.
My mom, one day I came home, it was nothing but candles all over the place.
Yes,
I was like, what the heck is going on here?
Right? What are we doing? We camping out.
She's like, don't worry about it. No, my mom was a G though. Like I told you, my mom my grandmother was hardcore. My mom was just as hardcore. She was like, yeah, I ain't paid the bill. She was just straight up with it. Like, I wish I had some stories, some interesting things. She was like, yeah, I didn't pay the bill. Couldn't pay it. So they cut it off.
You know what it was though? I was such a kid like that. I didn't even ask. I was like, Mom, why we just got candles lit all over the house? Like we got a Scooby-Doo episode going on over here. She was just like, oh, we trying to save a little money this month. All right.
Hey,
can I get a candle in my room so I can play with my toys? Game Boy got battery in it. I got double A's for this, and I had to plug in lights, so I was good.
I'm gonna be honest with you. That was probably the best sleep I'd ever had.
Oh, you did, bro.
Because you had nothing to do. Like yesterday when the power first went out, best sleep ever. I'm sitting there just like, okay, well, don't want to ruin this whole phone thing, which had I known this morning, totally different story. Totally different story. Which, by the way, you didn't even call. You didn't even text me. What kind of friend are you? You didn't call or text me.
I did text you.
Okay.
Your phone was dead, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah, so it wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah, but I still get the messages, Pat. Good Lord.
I did text you.
No, you didn't. This is how much Pat is on a mission. Pat will sit there and be like, what's your favorite phrase?
You good?
Something like that. Pat would do that right before live. Like, I could have talked to him for hours before then. He won't say a word. I'll just be like, oh, Windy City Breeze is live now. I was like, oh.
No, because you know why? Because doggone, if I be like, hey, you good? Like, I don't want to feel like I'm hounding you. You know what I'm saying? Be like, hey, wake up. Like, what's going on? You good? Like, come on, dog. We got it. Like, yeah, yeah.
Nah, listen, last couple
Hey,
days.
listen, we gonna keep the show rolling with or without you, baby. You know what I'm saying? We gonna move in the right direction.
Last couple days,
You.
either sick in this, but there's gonna be a day where it's like, yo, call me because I am not a morning person. I am not a morning person. This morning went that morning. I was kind of pissed about that. You know what's the worst thing about not having power? We have to use the bathroom.
Why?
Because it's dark.
You don't know where your toilet is at?
Nah, dog. All of a sudden, when you sitting on the toilet, things in the corner be moving you ain't never seen before.
Hey, listen, some Bibles in your house. I don't know what to tell you. Hey, that's the one time where it's like you gotta have the door open.
The entire place was dark.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, you in trouble. I don't know. Hey,
Entire
get some flashlights in there. You should have went to the store, got some fat flashlights, man.
He don't. The furnace don't cut on because nothing works. It's like,
hey, listen, that's a tough night. I ain't gonna lie to you, dog. Did y'all hit the pots last night? Where you got the pots to heat the house?
Dog, everybody was asleep.
Oh, it went off middle of the night, pretty much.
Yeah, everybody was asleep.
Oh, okay. That ain't too bad. Hey, man,
I was chilling.
I bet you was. You like no responsibilities. Hey, look, you can't do nothing with no power, dog. You better not expect me to have nothing done with no power.
You don't realize how useless you are without power until you don't have power. See, it flickered. It flickered.
It did that time. I saw that. That's them going between your backup generator and your main transformer.
Look at you knowing what you're doing.
Somewhat. I might be wrong, honestly. I have no clue. Let's get into this new segment.
All of a sudden, the lights go off as a demon behind me or something like that.
No, it's just Batman. What'd you do, man? You want what he's having? That's what I thought. Justice for Gotham.
What's this new segment, man? Because you didn't even tell me what this segment is.
Hey man, this is a segment where I get to have fun and just read the wildest story that I found on the internet. And yes, I did look up wild stories from the day. So we getting into a little segment I like to call "Ain't No Way, Boy."
And now, a segment of wild stories, crazy happenings, and just a few random things that'll make you say what? It's time for
Boy, ain't no way, boy. Boy, ain't no way, boy. Boy, ain't no way, boy.
Ain't No Way, Boy, brought to you by FanDuel.com. Make sure y'all get in tune with the folks over at FanDuel, man. Make sure to use the link in the description below, talking about getting the job done. You want to build that franchise. You want to make that money. Check out FanDuel.com, man. We got a lot of content that we got coming from them as well. Let's get into the segment I like to call Ain't No Way, Boy, because with a lot of this stuff, I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to just read you the headline. Residents terrified after rogue squirrel goes on 2-day rampage. Good night, everybody. Residents of a small town in Wales have been terrified by a quite unusual culprit after a squirrel went on a 2-day rampage that left some people afraid to leave their homes. Yes, a tiny squirrel. However, while this might sound like a funny story, it actually got a quite dark undertone because the furry fighter has been indiscriminately attacking older people, children, and pets in the garden of Buckley, North Wales. Dozens of people have received cuts on their hands and heads after they were bitten during the vicious attack by the psycho squirrel. Apparently, the creature has been launching itself at people with frightening speed as they left their houses and even started to chase people down the street. 18 people have been attacked over the course of 2 days, and 21 in total have been attacked since the 23rd of December. In the end, the squirrel's reign of terror was brought to an end when it was caught by a humble trap by a 65-year-old resident, Corinne Reynolds. The Gran of 9 has been leaving food out for the animal since the summer, and it has been making regular regular trips to her garden for that reason. Despite feeding and caring for the squirrel, Corinne herself was bitten on the hand and decided to act after seeing a number of reports of attacks on social media. She explained, I noticed yesterday that in a space of 48 hours, he attacked 18 people. He's not friendly. He's not a friendly natured squirrel. I'm afraid he's rogue and a rogue one, and I'm starting to wonder if he's got something going on inside his head. The speed of it is frightening. He dashes from roof to roof of my garden to shed to me, but when he does it with everyone else, he bites them. It has even been an elderly person in the area on one occasion. It chased down a lad on the road, and then dad was left with bloody cuts to the head. So, kid, I ask you, if your neighborhood was terrorized by a rogue squirrel, what would you do? What would you do?
Dog, you just described the worst case of rabies I've ever heard in my life.
This is what I was waiting for with the story. I'm waiting for the dude that's like, so I'm walking out, right? He went for the head. I protected the head, but then he went low. Like that's the story.
I just thought about it, this squirrel just using itself as a projectile. Just
Oh my God.
Hey, first off, she been feeding this squirrel for let's all right. Let's back this up. Everybody needs a rabies shot because this squirrel clearly has rabies, right?
This is the thing, right? This is the
Clearly
thing, right?
has rabies.
I see everybody in the comments talk about I would have shot him, get the gun. I don't care what y'all say. Unless you're a huntsman, you're not that good of a shot. That's a squirrel. His change of direction is ridiculous. Think of Devin Hester, but this big.
Dog. We live in Chicago or around Chicago. I'm out the city. It's too many people who get shot mistakenly for people to be like, yeah, I would have shot it. Yeah, no, you would have shot everything but.
Bro, I'm telling you, dog. I'm telling you. I was sitting here, dog. I'm sitting here reading this story. Like, what do you do in that situation?
First of all, you call animal patrol.
Fam.
You didn't even think about that. You call animal patrol.
No, but they still got to catch him.
Hey, all the food that she was feeding them, how about you put some poison in it and you end the situation?
Hey,
because everybody has rabies now.
I'm gonna tell you this. I can neither confirm nor deny who told me this story, but I think I've told you this story, but I'm not gonna put it on my family at all. Lil Baloney sends a message that's dipped in bleach. You know what I'm saying? Now the problem is every animal in the area is at risk. Hey, and Crip brings up a good point. He says, I have 2 dogs who catch about 4 squirrels a year in my yard, and I still don't know how they do it. Like, for real. What? There's no dogs in this area to take on this squirrel? Like, you're not pulling up on me with Coda.
First of all, Coda's not catching that daggone squirrel.
You know what? I'd put money on it that Lulu would, though.
I put money on that one. I can believe
Lulu from the streets. For those of y'all that don't know, I got 2 dogs, and Lulu's absolutely from the street. Lulu is from like the animal shelter. Lulu been to prison. She got a tattoo, legitimately. Like, she been to prison. She been out in the streets choking out squirrels, and they found her in the hills of Kentucky snatching birds out the sky. Like, dog, what? What are you doing this? Hey, Steve-O said, I'm not going to lie, that squirrel get the Pat McAfee special. Steve-O, that's the thing, right? You go to kick it, he grabs the leg. Now you in the worst position in the world. He's got a couple of options. Bite down right where you go to kick him at, or do I climb higher?
I don't mess around with squirrels. Hey, listen, I'm going to let you know right now. I lived on the 3rd floor with no elevator. You have to walk up the back. One day I'm walking up there and it's in the rain, mind you, and there's a squirrel on the top step, and he saw me, I saw him, and every time I made a move, he'd make a slight move too. And I just stood there in the rain, getting drenched until he decided that, hey, listen, this first step ain't exciting anymore. Because by no means was I going for that squirrel. Nah, I'm not making
Dog, so my
ain't no way,
squirrels.
boy.
Wow, ain't no way, boy. Ain't no way, boy.
I ain't messing around with no squirrel.
So my squirrel story. I was a prim tech at AT&T, basically the people that come in and install your internet, install your cable, all that stuff. That was like my first, like, I'm not gonna say my first real job, but the first job where I actually had responsibilities that people needed me. So they had we used to go on what was called the mid span, where every now and then there would be a box. You know where you see the box in the middle of the wire?
Mhm.
So you got to go up there, you got to climb up there, and tight or install the service there, and then you go to the house. That's where you install your dropping stuff at. So I'm up there. I open up the mid span, which is already scary as heck because it's 20 feet in the air and you got nothing in front of you. Like, at least with the pole, I can focus on the pole. If there's nothing in front of you, you just feel like this ladder's gonna give out, this wire's not gonna hold me. Here we go. So then I open it up and I see a nest and I see 6 baby squirrels in there. And I'm like, oh shoot, it's like baby squirrels in here. I'm not touching this. Like, I'm not messing with this because the squirrels go in there because it's low voltage. It gives off heat. So all of a sudden, from out of the door comes the customer whose house I'm at, and it's just like, watch out for the mama. And I turn left and I see the squirrel running down full speed down the wire. I'm clipped in. I unclipped and jumped 20 feet to the ground.
Ain't no way.
This squirrel comes running down, hits the ladder, starts to get like the cartoon slide to like try and make sure I didn't come back. I hit the tuck and roll like I'm Dukes of Hazzard in this joint. She stopped halfway, runs back up, and starts grabbing the babies and taking them to another spot because now I know where they at. So she coming back one by one. I waited an hour and watched her do it. Come back and take 6 baby squirrels to another spot. And the customer come out after I didn't hit the ground, tucked and rolled. He's like, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you she had built a nest up there. I was ready to just you're not gonna get me, dog. Stop playing with me, man.
I don't have too many squirrel stories like that, dog.
Hey, dog. Hey, working at AT&T definitely got me a couple of them, dog. Squirrel stories, bee stories, all of that stuff, man.
The worst one I got is when Amber thought that I'll never forget this. It was a huge raccoon the size of Lulu.
Oh God. Lulu's about 30 pounds too, y'all. 36 pounds.
This thing looked like Rocket. I could see him. I could see him, and I was like, "Yeah, that's a big thing." I said,
he's just holding some dude's arm. Like, why did we take this guy's arm?
Mind you, same place I just described. We park in the back. You got to walk up 6 flights of stairs because we lived on the 3rd floor. All of a sudden, she's like, "We can make it to the stairs." I was like, "I don't think you know how fast raccoons run." The raccoon is like right there in front of the car. I'm not getting out. We'll just wait it out. We ain't got nothing to do. Let's just wait it out. It's the safest thing to do. So it's like, why don't you just hop the horn, scare him a little bit? We just run to the stairs. No. And sure enough, as she's saying that, she's trying to get out the door. I'm like, if you don't get that, no. Like the raccoon is sitting there in front of it, just looking at us, just staring at us. She's like, he ain't gonna do nothing. No, I love my wife, but sometimes she
Hey, when they hit the full stand up, that's my only problem with raccoons, right? Raccoons are too smart. Like a squirrel, for the most part, will like leave you alone unless you got it cornered. Like, I don't know what was going on with Skippy over here where he's taking people out. But but a squirrel, for the most part, don't want to be bothered with you, don't want to be around you. It's gonna leave you alone. Man, raccoons about that action. Raccoons and possum about that action. Possum gonna play dead and try to like make you fake it out. But if you walk up on a possum that you think is dead, he will absolutely flip over and hit you with the, oh, that's what we doing? Bite. Fam, I'll never forget, we had a raccoon. This mug, I swear, he hit me with the Return of the Dragon.
What?
So he was living in my uncle's trash cans. And my uncle was like, hey, Pat, we sitting there, we had a party that night. He's like, Pat, take the trash out. All right, I walk out, I see the can shake a little bit. I'm like, nah. Nah, did I just see that? So now I'm like, let me find something to throw at the can to see if it's something in there. Grab a rock, throw it real hard. I'm up, bow. I go back inside. I tell my uncle, I'm like, man, you got something in your trash cans. I ain't throwing that bag out. He's like, boy, you better go out there and throw that bag out. Don't make me come out there. I was like, you can come out there. I'll take the whooping. Take the whooping. You're not getting me. It's either a human but it's too big. It moved the trash can. So my uncle come out. He like, man, there probably ain't nothing but a squirrel in there. So he go to hit it. This mug pops out like a Jack in the Box, full on knee up. Talking about what? That's it. Yep. My uncle said, it's his tonight. I ain't got it. I'll be back inside. That's his tonight. That's on him. I ain't got nothing for it. Nah, man, but that's a segment we gonna do every now and then, man. Gotta bring it to the show, bring some levity to the show, man, because that was dog. I read that story last night. I was dying laughing by myself. Maya was like, what's wrong with you? I was like, you'll see in the clip tomorrow.
No. I gotta ask. What the heck was you doing last night that you just randomly came across a squirrel story?
I Googled, because I knew I was going to do this segment, I Googled weirdest stories of the year. And it took me to this page that like always posts random stories. And so that mug, when that mug popped up, I said, yep, this is the first story of Ain't No Way, boy. Hey, look. I'd have been walking around that mug like, ain't no way, boy. I'm taking different streets if a squirrel is on the prowl, dog. I'm taking a whole different route to work. You're not getting me.
That's a wrap.
Squirrels can get in some very small places. Nah, man, we talked about a lot today, man. We talked about Madden, talked about the passing of Jeff Dickerson. As far as Madden, though, man, what was your favorite Madden, dog? Or what is your favorite Madden moment? Did you have one, or was it by the time we got Madden was old.
Nah,
we got like tail end of good Madden.
I just remember in the first Maddens, anytime you got an interception, the screen used to rotate real slow. And you'd say, interception. And a screen would turn. I just read off.
Madden 2002 is one of the greatest Maddens of all time on PS1, and only because of the theme song. The mugs literally used to just have some dude. Remember when video games used to just hire rappers to just do their theme songs specific to that game? And so it would be like, like Madden 2002 has always been in my top. I think there was one Madden I never remembered. Madden 94 was a great one, absolutely. I never remember the year. I want to say it was like 10, or it had to be 10. No, it might have been, when did COVID start? 2020. It was 10. It was Madden 10. Because I hadn't played Madden since that Madden, and Muggs told me, it was like, dude, you ain't played Madden in 10 years. But on that one, you had an offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator in your ear. If you had like a headset, so they would be telling you like what's happening. It would be like, oh, you got to watch out for Breeze. He might be going screen right here. It was so cool to me. It was so cool to me, like just being able to get that feel of like actually being a player on the field with the mic and the helmet. All right, we want to go twin jets right here. Oh, snap. There we go. We going twin jets right. I know what that means now. Like that was probably the dopest Madden, and now Madden is just a cut and copy. Madden is really falling off. It makes me sad. It makes me sad because
they don't do the OC and the DC in year anymore.
No, that was just that year. And it was such a great feature to me. You had like training camp, mini camp. You could do practices to upgrade your players, stuff like that. It was such a dope feature to me, and they took it away. And me and J Mart was talking about how Madden used to like all the features that Madden has added and taken out that were really good. And he was like, dude, it's like 130 features that they've added in, and then they just pull something out. And be like, man, that was like really fun. Like, why did y'all? But I don't know. Like, I feel like the game got away from being about revolutionizing the football, like revolutionizing football for the fan, and it came to just putting out a game with nice graphics that kind of resembles football.
I was never really into Madden. I was always, basketball was my sport. So
Yeah.
that's actually kind of cool. That little feature there that you just took. I actually kind of want to see it. I want to
Bro,
see how it works.
That was the best thing, dog. It was so cool. It was just like, it was one of those where it was like, man, football is like it was one of those moments. If they kept it in there, people would be like, football's hard. Like I feel like there's more people that are like, no, I could do that. I was like, no, you don't understand. Football is hard.
What was the name of the feature?
It was just a part of the game. So you would play like franchise mode. And if you play franchise mode by yourself, they had an offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator in there. Well, it was the same voice, but it was the same voice. But
I would love to see though.
I want to say it was Madden. I don't remember the exact year. I know Peyton Hillis was on it, and it was crazy to see because he had like a crazy like season and a half, 2 seasons, and then just couldn't play football anymore. He was a fullback that they converted to running back. So he made the Madden cover. He kept the Madden curse alive for sure. Absolutely. We appreciate y'all for tuning in and sticking with us this long, man. We got Bulls live call tonight. Bulls versus Hawks part 2. I haven't seen, let me double check here. I haven't seen a report on us getting anybody back or them getting anybody back. And I thought that we would, honestly, because of them shortening the whatchamacallit. What's it called? Peyton Hillis was voted by fans. Yeah. Facts. Because of them shortening the COVID isolation period, I still see everybody out that was out in the first game for Atlanta and
yeah, I'm looking here. I don't see it either.
For the Bulls. So I'm not seeing an update on any of that. So I guess we're pretty much running it back, same rosters. I mean, what do you expect? Do you expect Atlanta to pull this one out on a revenge tip? You got the Bulls getting this one. This is gonna be I think this is a tough game for the Bulls in the sense that now Atlanta has the game plan on you. How can they defend it?
Man, Atlanta finna take this L.
All right, great insight from P.kidd. Oh.
That's it. That's it. What do you want me to say, Cotton? Man, I think the team in the red and white with the bull logo is going to win. I think the team with the red and yellow with the hawk logo is going to lose. Hey, listen.
We hire players for all the national events.
I think the little guy that shoots a lot is going to shoot more, and I think.
Did they lose 2 more? Hold on. Did they lose?
Listen, Bog is always down.
They lost Bogdan and Dieng.
Dog, I picked him up in my fantasy team. He ain't played a matter. He's played like 5 games. That dude does not.
Deep you on there. You all right, my boy?
Hey man, listen, I feel great.
Yeah, Dieng is out with COVID. I don't see Bogdan on the list. Oh yeah, there he is, Bogdanovich. Yeah. Hey, so interesting thing before we get out of here. Is the NBA shaft in Atlanta?
What do you mean?
At this point, they're literally down to Trae Young and a bunch of G Leaguers. Like, at least in the last game, like, Muggs were like, they have nobody left. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, well, I mean, they're struggling. You know, they're going through COVID, but they still got Trae Young. They still got Ricky cracked me up. You don't have to Google it. When I give news, I'm official. Shout out to you, Ricky. I love that.
Until you're wrong, and then you no longer Google.
Hey, hold on. Who hit us with the Chicago Sky won the championship? Was that Ricky?
He did.
Ricky, did you hit us with the Chicago Sky won the championship like 5 minutes before the game was over, dog? Hey, listen, in the end, he was right.
I mean, he was right. But then we turned it on. It's like, oh, this is a closely contended game.
I'm like, it is still a 7-point game with like 3 minutes left. But do you think that at this point this game should be postponed with all the people Atlanta is missing? Because Atlanta has more people on COVID than they probably have on the team right now.
Do they have 8 people to play?
They got 8. They got 6 G Leaguers to play.
Is Cam Reddish playing?
Cam Reddish is playing. Trey Young will be playing. Clint Capella should be playing as well.
Guess what? Play ball. Because we went through it. Wait. Trey is playing, Cam is playing, Clint is playing.
Yeah.
Play ball. What do you want me to say?
Listen, I don't disagree. To me, we didn't see the Bulls get canceled until they lost their stars.
Here's the funny thing, and this is going to be very controversial.
The Bulls were literally down to 8, but it was like, well, you still got Zach, Lonzo, and Vooch. Well, you still got Zach Lonzo and DeMar. Well, like the Bulls were down bad, and
people are going to hate me for this. Well, no, maybe not. It depends on where you are on the stands. The entire COVID protocol for the NBA is stupid. The whole way it gets, again, there's one ball that everyone touches. So if one person comes out with COVID, guess what? There's a high probability that everyone's going to get COVID. And you want to know how my theory proves correct?
Because everybody keeps getting COVID.
Entire Bulls team just went through the protocol. They're like, you see, he didn't go through it. 2 days later, he's in the health and safety protocol.
Look. Billy didn't even touch the ball.
Stacey King wasn't nowhere near. Stacey King ain't touched the ball in 20 years. All of a sudden, he had COVID. Like, come on, dog. Like, the whole way that they're going about it is dumb. So, if you're going to be stupid and continue to do it in a stupid way, play ball.
Are we past? Did we see the last games canceled because of Adam Silver coming out taking his stance on it?
No, Adam Silver's about to retract that, and the tone in which he said it leaves it open to have some corrections or whatever. He's gonna walk that statement back so hard. NHL canceled games. You gonna sit there and say that you ain't gonna postpone no games? If any sport is that, NHL canceled games. They don't even touch the puck.
That's true. That's a great point. And they all wearing gloves.
They all wear gloves and masks. What the heck are we talking about?
I didn't even think about that.
Crazy,
That's
man.
A great point. Nobody touches anything.
They got their own stick with their gloves.
Bro.
And they're canceling games.
The NHL canceled all games till January 1st, and nobody touches anything. That's hilarious, dog. I thought the squirrel story was gonna be the funniest thing I heard today. That was a good one. I applaud you, my good sir.
Thank you.
Oh man, that was funny. No, I don't know. The difference in the NHL and the NBA though is definitely monetarily.
You gonna be thinking about that all day now.
Bro, that's so great, dog. That's such a great point. The NHL said, nah, we not doing this. We got some guys that got COVID. Guess what? Nobody is touching any part of even when they pick the puck up, they pick it up with a stick.
You know what makes it even worse? They already have the plexiglass to go around the ring. So the fans already have a barrier.
Yeah, the fans are protected already. Oh man, that's so good, dog. Hey, listen, I got nothing to say to that. I was gonna try to keep conversation going out there. There's nothing I can say to that, man. I appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with us. If there is a game tonight, we will be live tonight for Bulls Live Call and Bulls Post Game Show. Y'all get up with me on that one. And then we'll have some clips coming out later today. That'll definitely be in there. That's coming out that might be out on Instagram or Twitter, but that's coming out. That was good. The NBA used to lead pro sports in doing the right thing. They are on one these days. Did Jay Crit change his profile picture midstream?
Hey,
Crit on vacation, living his best life right now.
Hey, I love it, dog. I really do. I love Crit, but that threw me off. Like, I'm just like, did he just change his profile picture midstream on us?
Got the reflective glasses on, trying to
You
look
know
like
what I'm
he
saying?
cute.
Crit on one too. Oh
Man.
man. Hey, listen, I'll see y'all tonight, man. Kids, you pulling up or you
Yeah, I'll be good.
all right, man. Hey, we'll see y'all tonight. As always, man, this has been the Morning Breeze. We'll see y'all tonight and bright and early tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Hey, yo, y'all stay safe out there, man. Peace.